What's going on, everybody? And welcome to, gosh, what is this, episode 14 of Discovering Cinema? Man, it is
114.
something like that. Yeah, it has flown this year, and I'm just stoked to be here. We are going to have a special guest joining us for the actual chat in just a little bit, but right now it's just the two of us, so we haven't even had a chance to catch up. How we doing?
I'm doing good, man. I surprisingly watched a couple American movies this week. Uh, Not that many Asian movies. Uh,
Amazing.
it's pretty amazing. I watched the new Tragedy of Macbeth.
Nice,
Um,
that's right.
Loved it. Visually, it's okay. This might be sacrilegious, but I think Justin Kurzel, the director of the one with Fassbender in it.
I think so.
I think his movie is phenomenal. I'm surprised that hasn't gotten the love that I think it deserves.
Right.
Visually, it's beautiful. It's acted extremely well. Tragedy of Macbeth is, I think, just a notch below Kurzel. What's going on, Sardis and Nerd and Jeff? I think it's just a step below Justin Kurzel's one. But visually, it's beautiful. There's I can't think of the actress's name, but she plays the three witches, and she plays all three in one like role. And the way she contorts her body, the way she had like her like there's slight different tones in her voice for the three. It's really incredible. Denzel Washington gets into a sword fight with no sword and bitch slaps the dude, which was incredible. And Denzel, I mean, he's one of the greatest actors of our generation. Uh, yeah, up close. What's going on, Dave? You can see me. You see all the pores and the blackheads on my nose. Uh,
Flip is reorganizing his house because the baby finally gets to move into the media room.
yep, she's starting preschool. I don't know if I can show you guys, but her desk is actually right here for now.
I know why I'm calling her a baby. She's not a baby.
Yeah, she's 4. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, so my media room is now turning into a schoolroom. So shelf right here, entertainment center full of movies. Um, which I still the bottom shelf is a little bare. There's only like a few rows, so I still have room. Um, and if worse comes to worse, I'll put the special editions on top. Which I think I have another shelf that's just like this brown one. The two Billies that were in my room, my friend came over and we moved them out, and we moved the desk that my PC was on. That thing weighed probably, I'm not kidding, probably 200 pounds, and it came in two pieces. And the bottom piece was so heavy we couldn't get it into the stairwell, so we had to lift it above our heads, and then my friend had to hoister it over the staircase, turn while he's on the stairs, and we had to like carry it down all the way like that. What's going on, Fu? How are you, buddy? Um, Actually see some films on the shelf for a change. But yeah, so yeah, this is where all the movies have been. Has been in here, double stacked row in the back and everything. So, what's the other highlight I watched this week? Crap. Oh, oh, I finished Longmire. I finished the TV show literally last night at like 7 in the morning. I finished Longmire. Um, I do think the later seasons are much better once Netflix got a hold of it. They showed more mature content that A&E couldn't show. Obviously, it was a show about a murder every
It was
week.
A&E. Got it.
It was A&E. They canceled it after 3 seasons, I believe, and then Netflix picked it up and did 3 more. And it ends on a good note.
Wow. I
Yeah,
didn't know it
apparently.
got three more. I thought it only got one or two.
So it got 3 more. There's apparently they're in talks to do a couple movies because there's
Uh,
been more books that have come out since the show. Um, but I mean, it's a boomer show. It really is. The I was doing some like research to talk about it on the show tonight. The average age on A&E who watched it was 60.
oh,
So yeah, and apparently Netflix kept funding it because it had a higher retention rate of subs than most shows. So people were subbing uh, for uh, for Longmire and then staying on and going. I disagree. I think Vic was great. She is a little annoying at first. She's an um, East Coast cop who moves to the West, in the middle of nowhere. So she's very like, what the fuck's going on? Like, what's all this
right.
shit? Which is how everyone would be. Um,
I still haven't
But
started
yeah,
it yet. Who are the big names in it?
um,
Because I know
God,
there's one or two, right?
Philip, no, not Philip. Lou Diamond Phillips uh, plays a Native American. Um, which I don't know if he's Native American or not. Is he?
I had no idea.
He looks Native American. Well, I mean, as much as it is a boomer show, you know, the way they handle Native Americans, I think, is really well done. They obviously show their plight and their struggles and stuff, and they treat it with a lot of respect. They also show the Native American spirituality in a way that I've never heard of before, and I've looked up, like, is this a real, ritual that they did? A lot of, like, accurate stuff. It's actually pretty
Hmm,
cool. Um,
interesting.
but I'm addicted to cop procedurals, especially when I'm at work. So I finished Bosch, I finished Longmire, starting The Shield this week.
Finally. Fucking finally.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, yeah, trying to think of, like, anything else noteworthy I watched. My wife picked a movie. We watched a Christian movie called Paul, the Last Apostle, or something. Um, I can't think of any of the actors in it, but if you, like, went to their letterbox and you looked at them, you're like, oh, very high production value. Uh, very well acted. It's actually very well done. So, yeah. But yeah, you want to talk about what you've been watching?
I was gonna say, I watched Dinner for America that Arrow Video put out in the UK last year, and I put up
Great.
a review for that.
Yeah,
I
I saw it. That was a good review.
Thanks. I trying to branch out the way I do some of those and put a little more effort into them.
That's a great
Beyond that,
movie.
oh,
Slept on.
it really is. The music in that movie is incredible.
Yeah,
The other
it's
big
very
thing that I
punk
wanted to
rocky.
bring up, it is. I think you had talked about this one previously, and I finally finished it. Was Midnight Mass.
Yes.
Midnight Mass on Netflix. It is, first of all, I'm honestly shocked. It is like crazy divisive. Some people think that it's the best thing that Flanagan's ever done. Other people think there's too much talking. This show is shit. And I do give it the Flanagan benefit of the doubt. But then on the other side, I understand that there was a lot of monologuing, and in my opinion, I didn't hate that. I think it served the story well. It wasn't natural, but I mean, you're watching a story about religious people, turning into creatures. What sort of natural are you really expecting from that? So that didn't bother me much. I do agree with Dave here. I wanted to point that out. Justified is freaking amazing if you haven't watched it, and they just announced that they're doing a limited series run, like 5 years after that show ended, or maybe
And
it's more
also,
than that.
if you want to highlight Foo's comment about Line of Duty, I have been watching that. Very good. Very well done. Um, in America, we have guns everywhere, so it's a little weird seeing a cop procedural where everyone's not, like, gung ho. It's
Right.
more like drama within the departments. It's really well done.
Nice. Yeah, so Midnight Mass, shocking to me how well done it was. I think Hamish, the guy that plays the priest in that, the show is worth watching just for his performance. He was ridiculous. I've never heard of this guy previously. I looked at his IMDb afterwards. I guess he's in a couple big things and didn't play big roles, but he's in them. And I've not seen any of them, or he was so in the shadows that it's just somebody I did not notice at all. But yeah, I think he was incredible. I think that the story was really well done and not at all relative at all. You couldn't relate to much of it. The tradition aspect of it was probably the closest thing for me, and the not to turn anybody off to it, but the sociopathy that can come from religion and some of the people that get associated with it reminded me a lot of the moments from The Mist and the
Ah,
verbalizations that they go into in that. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it and was probably one of my best TV viewings of all time. Like I enjoyed it that much.
I think that would be a Taylor show. She likes those spooky shows. Same guy who did Haunted on The Haunting of Hill House, right? Yeah,
And The Haunting of Bly Manor
loved
and
she loved
Doctor
it.
Sleep and all kinds of other great stuff.
Man, he's on a roll.
He is quite possibly the most like consistent mainstream horror director, I would say. He's not like Ari Aster level or Robert Eggers or anything, but for mainstream audiences, I think he is probably the most consistent.
There was a piece of news this week that I wanted to talk about, but
I can't read your mind.
I forgot. Do you play video games at all? Did you hear the big
No,
news today?
oh yeah, that Microsoft bought Blizzard,
Insane.
Activision,
That's fucking wild.
and it was like a $60 billion deal.
70 billion. $70 billion
Jesus,
acquisition.
and
Nuts.
and a handful of companies are eventually just going to own everything, and that's not great.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way Sony does it, where they have they own the studios, but it's like individual studios who do
Right.
one or two properties. I mean, this is Activision Blizzard. You got Call of Duty, StarCraft, World of Warcraft, Overwatch. Even though I don't play Overwatch, Diablo.
Just Call of Duty and World of Warcraft alone, that gives you literally
nuts.
billions of dollars every year.
And last year they bought Bethesda.
Yep.
So,
and everybody thought that was a huge deal, and that was like 10% of the value of this one.
Yeah, that was a really I was actually surprised how much Bethesda was worth, because I personally think their games are shit, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But this $70 billion is insane.
Do you know about Mr. In Between? Have you watched this before?
What is that?
I've never heard of it. I got to be honest.
Never heard of it either. Never heard of it. Do you want to do pickups?
Yeah, I've got a handful.
Let me back this camera up because I got some posters framed.
Oh,
I finally got the signed RZA signed Kung Fu Bob 5 Deadly Venoms poster framed. I'm so ecstatic about this. RZA's got kind of a sloppy hand. I don't know if that's going to show up. You can't really see it.
It's there.
Yeah, it's just a couple scribbles, but yeah, Kung Fu Bob did this exclusive art piece for the 36 Chambers. It says it right there.
That's
RZA,
awesome.
36 Chambers %. And then the other one is, I don't know who the artist was, and I feel bad because it's an incredible piece. My friend who knows I love samurai movies linked this to me last year, and he said, "Hey, you should pick this up. It's a small print run. It's out of 100. I got 26 out of 100, but this is for a movie theater in Boston, I believe. It's Samurai Cinema. So you got obviously you got Lone Wolf and Cub, you got Sword of Doom, you got Blind Woman's Curse, 7 Samurai, Yojimbo, 13 Assassins, and then Lady Snowblood in the corner right there. So
wow,
yeah, this poster is super slick. I'm trying to find a poster like this, but for spaghetti westerns. I would love to have something like that.
That would be legit.
Yeah, Coolidge Corner Theater. Since 1933, they had a Samurai Summer event last year. So, but yeah, that's my 2 posters. I actually just got them framed today. I went to Michael's, yeah, got those 2 framed. I have a couple sumo autographs I need to get framed too. So I'm really big into sumo. I don't talk about it that much, but I watch sumo all the time. Do you want to show your pickups off real quick before I get into mine? Because mine's a little crazy.
Mine are actually kind of crazy too. I mentioned on Disconnected a couple weeks ago that SRS Cinema was having a sale, and they don't have a lot of sales. They have like a couple every year, but they have one of those weird, like this only had 200 edition ever on Blu-ray, and the rest are DVD. So it's hard to get some of them on Blu-ray because it depends on if they have them at the time or not. But I got a whole bunch that randomly fit this channel. So I got the brand spanking new release of Raiga, God of the Monsters from them.
That's awesome.
And then
such a fun movie.
Monster Seafood Wars.
That's awesome.
Very, very similar style.
Very tokusatsu.
And then Howl from Beyond the Fog. This one, if I remember right, yeah, it's only 70 minutes, but it's supposed to be really good. And it says a thoughtful, artsy giant monster story with the heapin' helping of classic Japanese ghost story goodness.
Hell yeah.
And then the last one that fits that is, I think it's Rago, King of the Sea Monsters. Just got to add to it.
There's surprisingly a lot of really well done indie giant monster movies.
There's a whole bunch out there. I also got Third Window Films just recently put this out, but I got the SRS release of the Legend of the Stardust Brothers, and this is supposed to be
Yep.
freaking great.
It's
Uh,
it's crazy. It's nuts.
Last two things I wanted to share. Kino finally got the Night Gallery season 1. I can't wait to watch this. The show's fantastic, and just like the other show that they put out last year, this has a commentary for freaking everything. So if you look at the special
Is it
features,
every episode?
look at
Is
all
it
of those commentaries.
Jesus? So is Night Gallery a TV show or a movie series?
It's basically like a Twilight Zone ripoff kind of, but
Oh, nice.
it's not really a ripoff. It's done by the guy that did Twilight Zone. It's just another series, and I think they had 2 or 3 seasons, and they've already committed that they're doing the other ones as well. So we know they're coming. And then the last thing I got that fits this is from Unearthed Films, the super boob heavy Tokyo Decadence, the NC-17 cut that they are not calling NC-17. They are marketing this as the uncut version. That way people will actually sell it.
Well, don't you think NC-17? Because like at least when I was a kid and I heard a movie, like there was that rumor the House of a Thousand Corpses was NC-17. There was a cut of it that was NC-17. That just made me want to see it more. You know?
I agree, but there are places that are not literally carrying the physical product because something is NC-17. And I don't know if you've been paying attention. There is a lot of problems with censorship right now on the production side, or sorry, on the distribution side. Diabolic is the biggest offender right now. They've had to change the names of 2 of their products to censor it for PayPal. PayPal has been canceling payments of people trying to buy a couple items from them. One of them just being the aptly titled Brides of Satan. So now if you go to their store and look up Brides of Satan, it is called Brides of S*N. And that's it. That way PayPal will accept the payment. I don't know what Handmaid's Tale world we're living in, but that is happening right now.
I think that was the reason why OnlyFans, not doing this kind of related, but the only reason why OnlyFans was going to switch to non-pornography is because banks were not allowing the purchase of pornographic items, which is fucking insane. I mean, I don't own porn, I don't watch porn, but people should be able to buy what the fuck they want to buy with their own money. That's insane to me. So, yeah, that is crazy that they've had to do that.
Yep.
So I mean, but Tokyo Decadence, that's a title.
It is, and I love this comment. Sardis says PayPal is turning into Chick-fil-A.
Hey, if those chicken sandwiches are as good as they continue to be, they can support conversion therapy as long as they want. I'm kidding. That was a joke. That was a joke. I have stopped eating Chick-fil-A because of that. I learned that when they first opened up here. They opened up one last year, and I've never had it before. And their spicy chicken sandwich, I was like, fuck, that's good. And then all my friends who are gay are like, they hate us. And I was like, well, shit.
When I moved to Missouri and I got my job with immigration, that's the first time I've said that on this channel. I work for immigration. The building that I worked in was right next door to a Chick-fil-A on the corner. And I was like, well, I've never had Chick-fil-A, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. I had it once before all the controversy. And I was like, oh, this sucks. I'm so close, and it's really good. But then it's not. I just make better chicken sandwiches at home.
Yeah, your chicken guys. Ryan is he's a fucking. I can cook like a menu. Ryan posts pictures of his food, and it's incredible. He's a better chef than I am.
That steak the other night was so good.
Dude, it looks so good. Dude, oh man, Taylor made she made Mississippi beef last night. Slow cooked it for like 8 hours, whatever, and then made sandwiches on garlic bread.
Nice.
PC culture everywhere. We don't like that, so you can't. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's weird because
I think that is different than PC culture. First of all,
yeah, because I think that's a little different. I mean, let's not talk about politics on this channel because Ryan and I are both very PC people. But
what I will say is there's no reason to be a dick just to be a dick, but you don't need to press your own values onto somebody else.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Is that it for your pickups?
Yes.
So I continuing the Shaw Brothers collection. I got Chang Cheh's King Eagle from 1971. No, 1970. So just a few years before he started working with the Venom Mob. Earlier Chang Cheh stuff, still swordplay based, still wuxia, but this is a very good film. Also got from Synapse Film, Female Demon Oyaku. Part I think this is the first part in a trilogy. I have the other two, but I don't know what order they go in. So I think this is number one. My case came broke, so
Oh,
disc
that
is fine though.
sucks.
Disc is fine though. And then this is a I wouldn't say this is a big release, but I think this is a pretty important release, especially for the year because Anamigo, as you can tell, I have all the Anamigo Samurai stuff that they put out. Um, I think they had some really good taste and stuff when they were putting out movies, but they
Right.
quit putting out live action stuff. Especially, I think their last box set was the Shinobi no Mano. They did Volume One. This is the first four films of an 8 film series, and then they never did Volume Two. So they're dipping their toes back in. They're doing a reprint on Blu-ray of Sword of Desperation, which is a great movie. I have it on DVD right there, but I went ahead and bought this because I wanted to support them because they said, depending on how this sells, this is a test. It could, if this sells well, they'll get back into putting out live action movies. And then I don't know if I talked about this last week, but got the latest Eureka. Got the Warriors 2 and the Prodigal Son, a little double feature, which I really like. They called it a Wing Chun Classic double feature. I don't know if that's like a new brand that they're doing, but it's up there. Poster, 2 discs, loaded with special features. The orange and the blue right there are the each disc. Oh, awesome, awesome. Mine came. I don't know. I got mine last week. I think after the show,
You got yours real
like
early,
Wednesday
yeah.
or something. I got mine early. Great films. The restoration looks good. Eureka kicking the year off incredibly well. And then continuing my samurai movie collection, more more bootlegs of stuff that you've never heard of.
Of
Um,
course.
this is Bounty Hunter Miyonosuke. So yeah, this is the reason why I got this is because this is written by Sato Takio, who was the creator of Golgo 13. Sorry, yeah. So if you ever heard of Golgo 13,
I don't think so.
he's the Sonny Chiba played him in a live action version. It's the I think it's the longest running manga of all time. Like
Hmm.
over I want to say like maybe 1,000 volumes or something, or like 100 or 200, 300 volumes, or like it's a crazy amount. It's been going on weekly since the 60s. He just passed away last year, but he did a samurai series as well about a one-eyed Ronin. So I decided to pick that up, and then well, and then here we have all of the Lone Wolf and Cub TV series. Look at these boxes. 2 episodes per disc, no compression. Um, I went ahead and got season one, even though I have the Tokyo Shock release, because the subtitles on this are a lot better. Like a lot, and plus they look better too. But yeah, this is all 77 episodes in this box set. So
Jeez. How many
crazy.
discs
Yeah,
total?
oh man, I'm 12 discs on the first set. Doesn't say on the second one. Oh, 9 discs on the second one, and 7 discs on the third one.
Jeez.
So, one-eyed Ronin is what I call my.
I had that up the whole time
Oh,
you were talking. I was
that
just
is
waiting for you to
good.
put your head up.
That is so good. That is actually the best joke I've heard in a long time. Um, and then I picked up a Cold Wind Monjiro and the sequel,
Nice.
Cold Wind Monjiro 2, Secret of Mojiro's Birth. There was a TV show that spawned after this, a 26-episode TV show. It's not available with English subtitles, sadly. Only the first 2 episodes, but I'm not going to just get 2 episodes of a TV show. This was surprisingly this 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 movie series and TV show was surprisingly like a big hit in Japan. You can buy a board game of that character. There's a
Hmm.
board game from the 70s of that for like $300 on
Oh, Jesus.
insane. Then I picked up a Bloody Battle at Dawn. Look at that grumpy old man
That
looking
looks
pissed off.
that looks like the face that they made like puppets for Japanese theater in the
Well,
late 80s.
a lot of the older movies, their makeup was very kabuki theater. You know what I mean? Like they had a lot of
Oh
like
yeah.
very kabuki theater. Have you seen all those or a blind buy? A couple of them are blind buy, but stuff like Cold Wind Monjiro I have seen and I've really enjoyed. This one I have not seen. This is Kazuo Koike's Samurai Sorrow. This is the same writer who did the Lone Wolf and Cub mangas, and he wrote 4 out of the 6 movies, and he's done a handful of other movies. This is a movie that he wrote, not based on anything of his, like, comic wise or anything. The Great Duel. Just kind of go through the last of these real quick. Great Duel. This is 1964, and then we'll just kind of breeze through the rest of these. This one is not on Letterbox, and I need to add it. Secret Sword Hiken. This is
Hmm.
from 1963, black and white.
Jeez.
This is Passage Through Hell. We all know about Miyamoto Musashi, right? There's a bunch of movies based
Oh
on.
yeah, sure.
Criterion has a well, you know the Criterion released Samurai trilogy.
Yeah.
It's about Miyamoto Musashi, probably the most famous samurai ever. He mastered the dual sword technique. A real person. He wrote the Book of Five Rings in real life. He was a poet. Some of his art actually survived too. There's like we have his art in museums. Um, he's he never lost a battle.
Hmm.
Like killed so many people. Very the movies all center around like 2 or 3 big battles that he had. Very just a badass motherfucker. But the production team behind the Rurouni Kenshin movies, so those are awesome, very stylized, high action, very tight fight choreography. They did a Miyamoto Musashi movie in 2014. So this is a brand new film by
Wow.
the team who did Rurouni Kenshin. So did not know this existed until recently. Very excited to check this out. Um, and then The Betrayal, or Nothing But Good Things. Flip Your Knowledge always impresses me. Thank you. At least somebody thinks so, because I think I'm an idiot. Um, and then probably this is something I haven't seen because I could not find a copy of this online. Could not find a torrent of this. Could not find it anywhere. I could find clips here and there, stills. Could not find the whole thing. And this is Raizo Ichikawa, which this was one of his last movies. He did like 2 or 3 movies before he died. But this came out after Sleepy Eyes of Death, which is a huge series that he was in, 12 movies.
Right.
This was going to be his next series after Sleepy Eyes of Death were done. And this is called Lone Wolf Izazo. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. I have heard
Sounds right.
nothing but incredible things about this movie. I've been dying to see it, and the way I got my hands on it was I messaged the dude who owns Samurai. I texted him. We have each other's phone numbers. I texted him and said, "Hey, do you have this?" And he said, "No, my buddy who used to own a company has it. I'll see if he has any in stock." And then he texted me a couple days later and said, "Hey, we have one, $10." And I was like, "Deal,
For
steal,
what you've been
still
searching for. That's amazing.
what I've been searching for." He takes requests, which is wild. I mean, right
Yeah.
now he is subtitling a 50 episode samurai TV show. Uh,
Jeez.
by himself. So, I mean, yeah, these are bootlegs, but like I've been saying, this dude pours money, time, love, and he's 70.
And it's stuff that will
He's
never
in his
come out.
yeah, he's in his stuff, and this is stuff that will never ever come out. I mean, especially the earlier stuff, like the stuff from the 50s and 60s. I highly doubt it. But I mean, there are movies. I mean, for instance, the Lone Wolf and Cub. We got the first season. It didn't sell well enough for them to continue it. So, um, the rips on YouTube, even though they are compressed and look like crap, the subtitles come from him.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, so without him, we wouldn't have had this series completely subtitled. Um, and the Lone Wolf and Cub TV show, if you guys have seen the movies, the TV show is vastly different than the movies. The movies have they have like an otherworldly feel to them, like very ethereal feel in my opinion. Just crazy stuff happens. You never get a sense of like what the normal population is like.
Right.
In this one, it's much more closer to the manga, where he's going to village along his journey, and you get a sense of what people are actually like, what the economy's like, what people do day to day. Um, running down a scarce running down a scarce film and actually finding it is always a high point in collecting. Yeah, I mean, I've had this in my collection I've had this in my watch list for like in my mind for years. I've been wanting to see this movie. Um, I I think there's only like maybe 2 or 3 reviews on Letterbox of this. Um,
Jeez.
I found a couple reviews that were in Japanese that you had to translate. does the Lone Wolf and Cub TV series have the same blood spurts as the movies? In parts, it's definitely more toned down, but there are still like the crazy cool characters that the film series has, like the brothers, um, the guy with the guns. There's a lot of those same characters. The blood spurts are a lot less, but the final season is like almost every episode is him battling his rival, and you get an ending as well. You get an
Nice.
ending very close to the manga, um, which is a very uh, it's like a happy sad ending because the outcome that Ogami Ito wants happens. But the movies are like if you have never experienced Lone Wolf and Cub in the comic form, when you go into the movies, and then it's your first thing, you're like, wow, these are badass. Ogami Ito's so stoic, so serious. He's very portly, and in the manga, he's not. He has a little bit more of a deeper connection to his son, and that's showed off in this TV show very well. But yeah, I'm excited. I have seen the entire TV show. Someone uploaded it on YouTube last year, I think, or like earlier this year. I think I finished it maybe in December. Ryan and I talked about it before.
Yep.
Um, great, great TV show. He has all the Zatoichi TV show subtitle too. That is 100 episodes of Zatoichi. Um, I do want to talk about one thing real quick. I watched Shogun's Assassin.
Oh, nice.
So I don't normally watch Shogun Assassin because I like to think of myself as a purist. But I saw somebody give it on my friends list on Letterboxd, give it 1 star, and I was like, no fucking way. So I was like, no, I'm gonna revisit this, and you know, it's a masterpiece. And if you like, you can love like a series, or you can love something very dearly and still be able to enjoy a different version of it. And this is just a lean, mean, stripped back version of of Lone Wolf and Cub. It's mostly all the fight scenes, and the brothers in the movie in the Japanese version have a really lame name. In Shogun's Assassin, they're the Masters of Death, which is so cool, so incredible. Really love that movie, and if you give it lower than a 4, we can't be friends.
I wanted to highlight one comment. Let me go back up from Sardis. He's been binge watching the Golden Ninja releases that we've been talking about on here a few times. He loved Dinosaur and a Mining Site. And I wanted to say they have gotten suddenly after that Indiegogo last year so much bigger than they were previously that one of the newest releases they put out 800 copies of. Their first 20 releases only had 500 copies, first of all. So they put out 800. It sold out on their site. And then the little bit that they had left, they sent to Diabolic. And it was the item that they were using to hype up their site reopening with a whole bunch of new items listed. So they were on the ball and ready to go. And Golden Ninja is slowly becoming somebody that everybody's looking forward to. Loving that. What's going on, Dustin?
I missed out on what's that Bloody Sword movie they did?
That's the big one. Thrilling Bloody Sword.
I missed out.
What's going on with the camera?
I am my phone is at low battery, so I'm moving to a spot where I can plug it in.
You'd think you would have done that. All right.
It was charged at 80%, and for some reason, this damn live stream is taking up all my battery. I didn't realize.
Yeah, you're live streaming. It's going to take up all of it.
Yeah, but I have a newer iPhone. I thought it wasn't going to be a jank POS,
Well, this is the perfect time to get a second face up here. And for our special evening tonight, we wanted to welcome back a special guest that we've had on here previously. So I'd like everybody to welcome big Artie Lang fan, Jeremy Long, comedian from LA. What's going on?
What's up, guys?
Piece of shit.
Wow, right off the bat.
This fucking guy. Look at him.
You know what I love about Flip is that he loves Lone Wolf and Cub so much that if anybody hasn't seen it, he talks about it so much that he gives them time to catch up on the whole series, and they can join the live stream. They can join the live stream and having watched it all and knowing what he's talking about.
before he's done talking. That was perfect.
Talking about it.
And now you've scared him away from the stream. I love it. How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
I am all right. How was Christmas? And it was Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah. Well, family stuff and
Pennsylvania.
Family and COVID.
Yeah.
You guys hear me?
True. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right,
unfortunately.
Cool. Hey, Jeremy, I have a would you rather.
It's good to be back, Flip. What's up?
What was it? I asked Fu this question because he has a podcast, the best kung fu podcast out there. Period. Called Fu. It's called Food for Thought. It's him, his wife, and his best friend. He makes those two watch kung fu movies and then they talk about it. But he said, "Hey, episode 69 is coming up. Do you have any dirty questions for us?" And I sent him one. Let me go see what I sent him because it's really raunchy. So
it's so important that he has to leave and go find out what this dirty question is.
I love that. Yeah, it's so important the camera goes off for the third time since I've joined.
Oh, that's what Artie Lang supporters will do. So what's new with you? What's going on?
Oh, not much. Did we already go over what we got for the week?
No, not entirely. And I wanted to share, and I'm kind of waiting for Flip to come back. Can you still hear us, Flip?
I'm here. Yeah,
okay.
I can still hear you.
I wanted to show. I was talking to Jeremy last night, and I said, "Hey, it's been a while. You want to come back on the show?" And he's like, "Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun." Flip just left. Fuck us. I asked Jeremy. I said,
"I don't hear you, but never mind."
I said, "Do you want to come back on the show?" And he said, "Sure. When's a good time?" I said, "Well, do you like Christopher Nolan? Because we're planning on talking about Christopher Nolan tomorrow." And this dude sends me this fucking picture. I hope it's okay that I was going to say that. Yeah, this is hilarious. Like, what is that?
That's me. Well, that's me when I had short hair with Chris Nolan.
By the way, I love the Jesus hair, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I do too. I don't think I'm going to go back anytime soon. Yeah, that was at that was like 2017 or 16. I was going to one of his favorite theaters that's not back open yet, but should be soon, hopefully, the Cinerama Dome. And I stopped and had a brief conversation with him and snagged that quick pick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's a real cool dude.
This is what Fu says. My wife read Flip's Would You Rather and immediately said, "Fuck no, we can't read those on the podcast."
But you can't apparently read it on this show because Flip's about to.
I will give you I will give you just one, okay?
Okay.
Would you rather be forced to go in time and blow an 80-year-old version of yourself to completion?
An 80-year-old
or go back in time and blow a 12-year-old version of yourself to completion?
I mean, probably the 80-year-old version, I think.
That's what I said. I'm probably
child. It's not like child pornography at that point. It's just
I asked my mom this question.
It's a typical Sunday for me.
Oh yeah, you're in Hollywood. I forgot.
Yeah, just walking around Hollywood blowing 80-year-old dudes.
You're cruising like Al Pacino. You're going to old folks' home and being like,
yeah, clearly I wouldn't want to do either. Although, I mean, it is yourself, so it's almost not like you're really even blowing some because it's, in fact, you're kind of pulling a Ron Jeremy in a sense.
I asked both my parents the same question separately.
Yeah.
My dad just went, "What the fuck is wrong?"
So and basically, the sentiment of everybody in the room right now.
Yeah, and then my mom goes, she like looked at me like this. She was like, "Man, your Aunt Susan really did drop you hard on your head." I was like, "Yeah."
You can't ask your mom that. She wouldn't be blowing.
Well, anybody. I phrased it differently from my mother. I said, "Would you eat your own muff?"
So, anyways, what we're talking about tonight is Christopher Nolan, and one of the things that we're trying to do is start a new series, top 3 and bottom 3 from somebody. For tonight, it's going to be directed films by Christopher Nolan. In the future, we're talking about doing acted films. We're also talking about doing some other different forms of that, but
like genres, or
yes. Tonight it is going to be top 3 and bottom 3 directed films by Christopher Nolan. And what we're going to do, it's not really like an argument or debate necessarily, although I framed it like that in the description. It is primarily going to be we're sharing our feelings. And one of the things that we're not going to do, and I didn't warn Jeremy about this, we are not going to share if we haven't seen something from him. So if you just say, like, Interstellar is his worst movie of all time, maybe that's the only one you've ever seen, so it has to be the bottom one. So
I disagree strongly with John's comment right there. There's no bottom 3 for Nolan. There's a lot of bottoms for Christopher
Nolan. I also disagree with that. Are we allowed to say if we've seen all of them?
Yeah, of course.
Also, in honor of tonight's theme, I'm wearing my Interstellar shirt.
Nice.
Watched in 35 millimeter at the New Bev.
How did that look in 35 millimeter?
Oh, great. Or not 35.
Is it? Wasn't 35. It the 70?
No, this was 35, according to the shirt.
I'm so jealous of the 70 mil theaters. I wish we had one close to us.
So jealous of you, Jeremy. You're tall. You're handsome. You have hair.
Did you see the picture that I posted, or were you gone during that whole thing?
I think I was gone.
Okay, so I'm not going to pull it back up. Since you weren't there in that conversation, I asked Jeremy, "Are you free on Thursday? Because we're talking about doing, or today, not Thursday. Are you free tomorrow? We're talking about doing an episode on Christopher Nolan." And he sends me a picture of him with Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. So I was like,
of course.
I can handle that.
Is he nice?
Yeah, he's really nice.
He seems like a good guy.
We talked for a little bit, and he really liked. I was like geeking out. We were geeking out on film together at ArcLight Cinerama Dome of all places. And then when I asked him for a picture, he's like, "I normally don't do that, but for you, sure, real quick."
Here's my opinion on Nolan: is that I respect the hell out of him. I think he's important to cinema in an industry full of sequels and reboots. He is doing original ideas for the most part. The Batman trilogy.
I was about to say,
but for the most part, I mean, he just leveraged what was it, like $300 million for a movie about the World War II bombs? Like, who else can do that? No other director could do that.
Flip raised a really important question, actually. Are we qualifying the Dark Knight trilogy as one or 3 separate films?
Three separate
movies. Because there's a couple duds in that series. There's a couple stinkers.
And by a couple, but we know which ones.
There's process of elimination. Here's my overall opinion on Nolan: is that people who think Christopher Nolan is like smart and a genius aren't smart people. He is intellectual cinema for he's got some. Let me finish. He's overall he's intellectual cinema for people who think Joe Rogan has a good point, and that's just my personal opinion. He has good points. He has good ideas, but people who are like, I've never seen anything like that, I'm blown away.
It is so hard not to interrupt you while doing that.
I know. Guys, I only have about 15 minutes left, so we got to get going. I'm just joking.
Okay. How are we going to do this episode with 15 minutes, dude?
My agent gave me a hard out at 8 p.m. We gotta...
So I will say I disagree with you. I think that he has a very important place in cinema, and not just for the Joe Rogan crowd.
That's what I'm saying,
I'm saying that that's not true. What I am saying is he is a very good gateway director. He's a really good place for people to get into cinema with. And not that he is bad at what he does, because for the most part, he's good until he starts messing around with audio mixing, but that's neither here nor there. But there are
one.
Yeah. There are a lot of things that are great about his films that can't really be argued. And I'd much rather watch some of his films than some of the people that, they're highly regarded as way better than anything Nolan's ever touched. And I would much rather watch almost anything out of Nolan's filmography over, there's going to be another hot take, but like 75% of the Criterion Collection in a heartbeat.
Oh, 100%. And also, I feel like, when I say this, I'm talking about like, I do think, any of the big directors from like A24. Try to go 5 hours tonight, fellas. So I have something to watch tomorrow and work. We will, buddy.
Have a good night, food.
See you, buddy. When I say this, I have to be very hyper specific because I do like Nolan, And he is one of, I would say, the bigger directors. You know, I obviously will watch Ari Aster stuff, the Safdie brothers. He's one of two big directors that I will watch opening day regardless. Him and Quentin Tarantino. No matter what they do, no matter if I don't like it or not, I'm there opening day because he has a great visual style. His stories aren't, like I said, they're not cookie cutter normal things. He tries something. And my favorite movie is going to be a little bit controversial.
I will say that
I agree with
this
that.
is starting to ring more and more true.
Nerd
says
I think
sometimes
that's what I was
Nolan
trying to
thinks his
say.
movies are smarter than the viewer, and that's not necessarily the case, obviously.
I think that's
All
what I
right,
was trying to say. That's
should we get started before we go too deep into the personal aspect of that, and then in the middle we can start to dice it down
before fisticuffs.
Because we're going to break into this on every single film as we discuss this, anyways.
Yeah.
So as we go in order, why don't we start with you, Flip, and then we'll go Jeremy, and then me. And so this first one that we're going to bring up is the third worst. So like if his bottom of the barrel is the lowest score, that's number one. We're going to go with number 3 right now.
Top of the bottom 3.
Yeah. So this is like the most middle of the pack of his worst films. So what is your number 3, Flip?
Dark Knight Rises. Do not like that movie. I think it was a terrible way to end a trilogy. I should like it though because I love Tom Hardy. I love some of the fights in that film. I love some of the set pieces, but overall, it did not fulfill my personal hype for what The Dark Knight was. The Dark Knight is one of the best movies of all time. Incredible. Love that movie. And it's one of the movies that lives up to the hype. Even if what's his name? I keep forgetting his name. I'm out. Flip is canceled.
Tom Hardy?
No, not Tom Hardy, Joker.
Heath Ledger.
Why am I blanking? Yeah. Even if he didn't die, that movie would still be highly regarded.
Oh,
it's
definitely
incredible. But I think the third movie is just a stinker. I cannot watch it.
Was there anything about it that was redeeming for you?
I do think Tom Hardy is great. I think that plane sequence is nuts. That plane sequence is incredible. But and then also the was it the football stadium? That's wild. Seeing that in like IMAX was just like holy shit. But
fun fact,
overall,
I'm in that scene. I'm not even joking.
I hate it even more now.
The football stadium. It was filmed in Pittsburgh, and I used to live in PA. And I, along with being a comedian, I did a bunch of background extra work. I was also in Jack Reacher and a bunch of other stupid shit that was filmed in Pittsburgh before moving out here to LA. And one of them was Dark Knight Rises. But you can't see me at all, but I was there.
But yeah, that's just my opinion. Jeff agrees with me. Thank you, Jeff.
That's impressive.
Jeff's a smart guy.
Jeremy, you want to go with your number 3?
Yeah, my number 3 of the bottom 3 is his most recent film, Tenet, which
Flip is going to flip a table.
Which I liked the concept a lot, but the execution didn't exactly nail it for me. So it's not his worst film, clearly, and since it's the top of the bottom 3 for me, but it's not my favorite by him.
But was there anything redeeming? Anything that you thought was really good about it?
I still really like the concept. Like the overall concept is super complex, and I think, in theory, it's executed. And like, I feel like on paper, the idea that he came up with is like really, really good, but then it just wasn't executed well for me.
That makes sense.
And I have a lot of pacing issues with the film.
Flip is trying to hold everything in right now.
We'll talk about Tenet later.
Are you sure? Well, let's not divulge that. So my bottom, my number 3 on my bottom 3 is going to ruffle some feathers. So I will say, first of all, for everybody, I've never not liked any of Nolan's movies. I think that they are all at least good. So saying that,
yeah,
I will say my number 3 from the bottom is Memento. Now, I don't think that it is the brilliant, shining object that everybody else thinks it is. I think that it was, for me, it was like irreversible. It had obviously a very time specific thing, just like Memento did, but overall, it was kind of a gimmick. I think that without that, that movie is a lot less substantive, and I think that obviously the performances are good, but it's just not what I really want from a Nolan film. And I think that if he did it now, it would probably be about 40% better for me. I think he's learned a lot since he put that out.
That would be cool to have a director go back and redo a work that they first did, but
it's happened. The guy that did Funny Games, he did his own, I believe, did his own English language remake of that.
Was he
That's right? Yeah,
the English version. Michael Haneke?
I think so.
Oh,
if I'm remembering right, yeah. I may be wrong. Somebody in the comments fix that because
if that's true. Then that would explain why it's like one of the best remakes.
And it's literally like shot for shot.
Yeah.
All right, Flip. Moving on. Number 2. Let's piss some people off, huh?
Interstellar.
I don't understand.
I do think the thing I like about these Earth girls is they get older. I stay the same age. he's up in space near the black hole. He stays the same age. Come on, that's a good one. Yeah, I don't know. I found the movie extremely boring. The whole time I was just like, I saw it in theaters opening night. I was with a group of friends. I had a friend next to me sobbing, and then I did get teared up a little bit watching it. You know, that scene where he's watching his daughter. But overall, I just found the movie to be just not very good. Visually, it's gorgeous. I think. Oh wow, cool. But the one redeeming thing I will say, like the one moment that I actually enjoyed, was when they go to the planet. In a second, every tick that you hear, it's like 1 point something seconds. Every tick you hear is a day that's passed on Earth. And then like what you end up seeing in the horizon is a tsunami wave. Thought that was incredible. But then he goes in the black hole and he goes in like just another dimension and he's behind a bookcase. I'm just like, all right, whatever. You lost me with that crap.
I will say I don't agree with you. I don't see Interstellar as boring at all, but I do see it as very cheesy compared to a lot of his other films. And I think the big thing is the ending for me did not land. I think that the same thing with like, I think my film is smarter than my audience. I think he's spoon-fed the whole last 15 minutes of that movie.
I think he tried so hard to be like, this is my 2001. This is my this is my generation's 2001, but you can't do that because 2001: A Space Odyssey is a classic. It's an perfect
epic
film. Yeah, it's epic. And Interstellar wasn't epic. You can't have the Lincoln Lawyer in your movie and call it epic.
That's a weird take, but I will say honestly,
Ryan and I's taste usually aligns. I'm in agreement. Although Flip did remind me of that old Jim Carrey movie, Earth Girls Are Easy.
If I would have known he was going to make that joke, I would have pulled out my copy of Earth Girls Are Sleazy.
And I would have pulled out my copy of Shaving Ryan's Privates.
Oh, that hits a little too close to home. All right, Jeremy, what's your number 2?
Flip will maybe I'll redeem myself a little bit with Flip on this one because my number 2 is Dark Knight Rises.
Same.
It's I pretty much agree with just about everything Flip said. It's not a great closer to an otherwise really good trilogy. It does have some redeeming qualities in it. There, it still is a Christopher Nolan film, and I agree with what Ryan said at the beginning of this, which is that there's not one of his that I actually hate. I still even the worst of his I still think are good.
And I like how John just said that. Look at this. I think Nolan's filmography is a lot like Kubrick, where even lesser Nolan is better than most films that year. And right. I'd agree with that.
I would agree with that too. So, it still has some great shots. It still has some great acting. It has some scenes or some moments in it that are great, but it's overall not nearly close as the other two parts of the trilogy, and a
Right.
terrible way to end it, like Flip said.
I also think he did a lot of spoon feeding in this one too. I think that it was really unnecessary to go into the amount of detail that he did, explaining, some of the backstory of Bruce breaking his back and how Talia al Ghul is going to betray him and everything else. I also like, yes, the cinematic idea of the football field scene was interesting. I think the overall effect of the CGI on that kind of took away from it for me. And when you look at the behind the scenes of how they did it, and there actually was things blowing up on the field and all that, I liked that. I mean, obviously they're not going to be able to cave away a football field below it, but what they were
Could you
showing,
imagine?
yeah, that would be
I
incredible.
think they CGI'd me out of it. That's why you can't see me.
Yeah, I think that took away from that part for me. I think they wasted Anne Hathaway quite a bit. I think that she could have been
Yes,
a
dude. She's a
lot
great
better.
Catwoman.
Yeah. I think that they did really good casting with that, and they just let her go to waste. But I agree. I agree fully that that is easily my number 2 on the bottom. All right, Flip. Bottom of the barrel.
Bottom of the barrel.
Inception. I dislike Inception. I saw it. I think I was in high school when it came out, and I remember the viewing specifically because I went with 2 other football buddies because I was with football, and they were the homophobic football bros where we had to put a seat between us because they called it a gay buffer. And
Yeah,
I'll never
it's a
forget that because I was
jacket.
confused. I was like, why are we spaced out? And they're like, we don't want to look gay, bro. And I was like, dude, we're watching Inception. Calm down. It's not like we're
That
watching
is such a
Cruising.
2009 story.
Very 2009 story. So, but yeah, I have revisited Inception. I think visually it does some pretty cool stuff, but it's, again, Nolan gets these really good ideas and he just doesn't know how to like rein it in. He keeps like going, like one-upping himself a little bit throughout the storytelling. Like there's another layer, just too much. It doesn't make sense. I understood the movie. I got it perfectly, but I was just like, all right, come on, enough of this. I think the scene where the room is spinning, and I think the way they shot that is insane. I think again, when I talked about Nolan being a director who has some pull in the industry, the fact that, like, for instance, in Interstellar, he planted all the all the crops in the movie. He planted. That's insane. And then in that scene, he actually built the corridor, and they actually rotated it. Like, it's just brilliant. It's that, and that in and of itself is brilliant. But the overall outcome of the movie, I just did not like very much. I didn't. I think the performances are great. I think Leo's great. I think Elliot Page is great. I think God, what's his name?
Joseph
Christopher
Gordon-Levitt.
Lovett's great. Yeah, I think all 3 of them are
Cillian
great.
Murphy.
It's just, yeah, Cillian Murphy again. I'm excited to see. Are you not a fan of sci-fi, Flip? Not really, man. Not. I mean,
So
a
could
little
that be the
bit.
biggest factor here?
I mean, it could be. I mean,
so.
I went through a phase where I loved Star Trek, but I mean, as you guys can tell,
That's not sci-fi. That's like a space soap opera.
Yeah, that's true. But I as you guys can tell from my collection, there's almost no sci-fi besides the Christopher Nolan in my collection. But yeah, I'm not a big sci-fi guy.
So do you agree with Inception there, Jeremy?
I disagree. We'll find out later. But
thank goodness.
My bottom of the barrel, which based on Flip's picks, I have a feeling will also upset him, is Dunkirk.
Break
I once again, even the worst of my list is still I don't hate it. To be fair, much like what we just established with Flip not really being a big sci-fi fan, I'm not really a big war movie fan. There's very few exceptions to that. I like Terrence Malick's Thin Red Line, and I like Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket, and so there's some exceptions when it's done really well. And I would even say Dunkirk is an exception because most war movies I actually don't like. But it is not exactly my genre or my style of film, and therefore it's at the bottom of my list. But obviously it's shot beautifully, like all of his films, and so I did admire it visually when I saw it in theater opening night anyways, despite it being at the bottom of my list.
I want to highlight ice here. We're doing bottom 3 Nolan, top 3 Nolan. Christopher.
We are currently on the bottom of the bottom right now. This is what we are calling the worst Nolan film, which is still really good compared to a lot of other directors. Obviously,
there's no bad films. There's no bad films.
I would share some feelings on Dunkirk, but I have a feeling that we're going to be talking about that again in just a minute. So I will keep some of those quiet. My bottom of the bottom is going to go very quickly. So I will say my number one, I think that is the worst Nolan film, is Insomnia. And the reason I'm going to say that is because I think I've seen it twice, and I can't remember a fucking thing about it. There's nothing memorable for that movie for me at all.
I completely forgot that he directed that, but he didn't write it.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
So that could be a part of it. And also, Eric asked just a few minutes ago, how much does his brother factor into this screenplay-wise? Because if we look closer into that, his brother has not written every single thing that he has directed. So I think one of the things for me, I just don't think it might have been that connection. Maybe he just wasn't, he did Insomnia because something with the studio or something like that, but it was not a Nolan film to me, and nothing about it just sticks. I can't remember a damn thing about it.
I like Insomnia. I almost completely forgot that he directed that. I agree that it's not really a total Nolan film, especially since he didn't write and direct it, as he's done with all of his other films. I don't think I hate it as much as you. Clearly, it's not I honestly, when I was making my list, I didn't even consider it because I completely forgot he directed it. But I still don't think it would be in my bottom 3. But what I do love about Insomnia is Robin Williams' bad guy turn.
Yep.
And he's always great, but it was I think that was one of the first ones that he was playing against character for him.
I didn't know this. Eric is saying Insomnia is a remake. I had no idea.
It's a German film, I think, with Stellan Skarsgård.
Doesn't the German one have a Criterion?
Oh, nope. Had no idea.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that. I think I own it. I don't know if I've seen it.
Stellan Skarsgård, really? Interesting.
Yeah, or one of the Skarsgård. I'm pretty sure it's Stellan. Yeah, and whoever said that can correct me. Or
Insomnia is. Eric says it's Norwegian. Insomnia is not like a newer film. God, what year did that come out? Like 2004 or 5?
No, the remake, the Nolan one. That was early 2000s. Yeah.
Yeah, had to have been.
What?
So that
was it Stellan Skarsgård?
No idea. I can look it up while we're talking.
Okay.
So now that we've talked about the bottom, any overall feelings that we want to share or brace for the impact of the top?
I mean, I think honestly, we all have good opinions. Except for probably me, apparently.
The Nolan one came out in 2002.
Wow.
Whoa,
and
holy
the remake
shit.
was 1997, and it is Stellan Skarsgård.
Yes. The year my wife was born, 97.
While I feel like my opinions are my picks are very opposite of Flip, I still respect his overall opinion and reasons for why they're on his personal list that way. There's been less.
Jeremy, my goal is to look more like Artie Lang every time you come on, so I started doing coke.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
John says, I think it was his Warner Brothers test run for Batman.
With Bob Saget's recent passing, rest in peace. Flip, do you have any stories about him directing you on Dirty Work? Any fun behind the scenes?
Yeah, I mean, he was just such a pervert. He made me look clean off air. such a dirty
And by
guy.
the way, nothing has ever made Artie Lang look clean.
True. Even a shower.
Not even a shower.
Not even a shower.
So now we're going to go from number 3 being his third best to the top. We're starting at the middle again. So Flip, what is your third best Nolan film?
Say Dark Knight. It's an absolute classic. That movie, I'll never forget. We were in the Wisconsin Dells, and it was me and my cousins. There was a casino right next to the movie theater. parents dropped us off to see Dark Knight. We're about 15, 16. We watched Dark Knight. Our parents were still gambling. So we're like, let's just go fucking see it again. So we saw it again. We saw it back to back twice. The opening scene, the whole robbery sequence, brilliantly done. Heath is just an amazing Joker. When people were shitting on Robert Pattinson being casted as a new Batman, when Heath was casted as a Joker, there was outrage. And he ended up being the best Joker ever. I don't think anyone's ever.
There are many examples of that in history.
Yes. Except maybe Jared Leto. He's a pretty. I'm just kidding.
The sad thing is, most people saw that casting and went, okay, I could see that after what Heath Ledger did. And then they played him and it was like, oh God, what is this fucking shit?
Oh my God. Apparently there's an Ayer cut, a David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. And he showed a picture of the Joker from his Ayer cut. And he's even more stupid looking. So I didn't know that was possible for David Ayer to be even worse of a director.
I don't know how anybody can be appealing or be interested in Jared Leto's acting at all.
I mean,
has there been anything he's been in that you've liked?
Oh wow,
Dallas Buyers Club, maybe.
Dallas Buyers Club.
What's the one where he's the? Is it Dallas Buyers Club or is the?
What's the one where at the end the girl's using a dildo on herself? What's that movie? That's really depressing.
Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a Dream. I watched that.
I did like, and it's not because of him, Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, he's good in that. He's good in Blade Runner. I think he's creepy in Blade Runner. But yeah, he's just whatever. And also, he's such a racist character of Italians and House of Gucci. Like Lady Gaga's accent was spot on for that lady. Jared Leto is just being.
He's hamming for the Mario Brothers movie.
My pick. God. He doesn't play a big role, but he's very much fits into American Psycho.
Oh yeah. Oh, Fight Club. He's in Fight Club.
Yeah, but same thing. He's basically nobody.
But yeah, I think The Dark Knight is Nolan's third best movie. I think set pieces are great. I think it's tied with the best superhero movie. I just think it's
tied with what?
Perfect. Blade. I love Blade. Blade is like Dark Knight takes a superhero movie and like asks, has like some serious, themes to it. That version of just a fun action movie is Blade. I think they're both very well done, especially for '99 when Blade came out.
I was going to ask, what do you think comparing that to possible, this upcoming Mahershala Ali version?
I love Mahershala Ali. That dude can do no wrong. Love him. Fuck yeah.
I like him too.
Number 3, Mr. Jeremy Long.
Number 3.
My number 3 is Ryan's number 3 of the worst, which is Memento. I really like it. I understand Ryan's critiques, and it is his second movie after Following.
Yeah.
So it's understandable that he was still kind of finding his voice and his style, and therefore but for what it is and at what point in his career, I still really like I like it. It's my third favorite.
That makes sense, and I understand why a lot of people grab onto it. And I think that again, the performances in that movie are really good. I think that they are something to genuinely be celebrated. Some really good work in there. My number 3, just because we kind of already talked about it, I can share a few other favorite points, but my number 3 is The Dark Knight as well. I do think that it is a literal masterpiece. I think that it is a very different experience than I had previously, and I think in God, what year was that even? 2006, 2007, 2008. 2008 when that came out, I had just gotten out of my parents' house a couple years before that, so I had like real freedom, and so I was able to drive finally. And I think I saw that film in theaters like 6 times because it was the first thing that after I got away from my parents, I was able to connect with in theaters in a real meaningful way. And I grew
I
up.
saw it 13 times.
Jesus.
I love that.
I didn't grow up driving a BMW because my parents went to restaurants, so that was the difference.
Hey, motherfucker, I paid for it, okay?
Yeah, so I saw that a bunch of times in the theater, and it is genuinely great. I think that obviously we have Heath Ledger to talk about, but I mean the love interests in that movie are really well done. Everybody is fleshed out. Bale is literally probably the best protagonist that is unmasked in a superhero film that is not a Spider-Man movie, and that's a weird way to make that distinction, but I think Spider-Man is a very different unmasked protagonist than any other superhero. I think that the way that they build tension in that movie is something that the MCU could really learn from, and I think that the stakes in that movie are the perfect level of stakes for a superhero film. We don't need to have every single MCU film where the world is about to be over or the universe hangs in the grips of this one decision. They're
Preach it,
like
brother.
literally all of Batman's decisions in that movie. A couple of them literally rest in the hands of one life, and at the end, it's the same as Batman Begins. It's a life where this life is going to be affected, but also the city of Gotham hangs in the balance, and that is one thing to have a city, but to have an entire country or a world or a universe, we don't need that shit. It's not relatable at all.
What you were saying about the stakes, they felt believable.
Exactly.
They felt like, I mean, they are fantastical because
of course
a billionaire is, gonna do good, but it's just it's just
oh man.
But yeah, it's just, I think those stakes felt real. I think I think those movies are somewhat grounded. I think what lost me with the third one is that it kind of broke its own universe rules in a way. I think the second one felt perfectly, real. Do you guys know if they were planning on bringing Heath back before he passed away?
I don't think it ever even went that far, at least publicly. I don't think anybody's ever said.
Huh.
But you also got to realize you got to realize how quickly after the production of that he actually died.
Before it was even released, right?
Yeah, the legacy of the film had not even hit yet, so there's no way that. Yeah.
And the whole hospital scene, no one blew up a hospital.
Yep.
Like in real life.
Well, and they were gonna demo it anyways. He just said, "Hey, can we film it and make it a little
still fucking
more exaggerated?"
That's still... God, he's so cool.
The luck to be able to find a hospital that they were already going to demolish and be like, "Hey."
And also, his version of Gotham felt like a legit city.
It did.
It felt real. I feel like I'm not a big fan of the Tim Burton Batman because they're silly. And I'm not a silly person.
They're supposed to be. Oh, come on.
You don't like Jim Carrey Riddler?
God, no. I don't like Jim Carrey. Already then. Whatever he does.
What was that?
I don't know.
It was like Artie Lang trying to pull something out of his lip.
Flips friend.
I am Artie Lang.
Oh, Lord.
Cast me in the Jim Carrey movie, biopic. My number 2, Dunkirk. I love that movie. I think here's the thing about I love war movies. I think we've briefly talked about. I love war movies. And it's my second favorite war movie behind Saving Private Ryan. I almost said Shaving Ryan's Privates because it was in my head. But it's my second favorite war movie behind Saving Private Ryan. I think it feels grounded. Those scenes in those planes were, from what I understand, are as accurate as anything that we could possibly get. The sound is just beautiful. At the end where Hardy is literally gliding through the air is, I think, one of the most incredible pieces of cinema I've ever seen. I was blown away when I saw that. I love that movie. I think the acting is great. what I love about it is that like there's like almost no like setup. You're just thrown in. You barely get it. Like, no character like truly
There's
gets an
shots in the first
introduction.
10 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just boom. You're thrown into this, and it feels like you were there. It feels gritty. It feels real. And who's the actor? Harry Styles.
Harry,
Uh,
yeah,
just
that actor.
awesome. The whole cast is great. Dude. He's so incredible. I love that movie. I think from a sound design perspective, it's probably my favorite Christopher Nolan work. The sound is insane, beautiful. Uh, and my wife doesn't normally like films like that. She loved that, both like on her edge of her seats, especially the plane stuff. Just incredible. I There's so many set pieces, but I keep talking about the planes because it's God, and like one of them crashes in the water, and the people pick him up and they don't know that he's really a Nazi. It's just such a good movie. Incredible. It feels epic. It feels like I feel like that's an epic.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
It cuts.
I love that one of the praises for Nolan is now sound. And after his last few movies, that's a big deal because his sound is not great. The way he mixes vocals and all dialogue is
in
trash.
Dunkirk. It was. I agree with Flip, but in his last couple, not so much.
And I'm standing by that. I do agree with Flip. I just don't understand how it was so good in Dunkirk and so much worse in the other movies around it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about one of those other movies.
Yeah, we know. All right, what is your number 2, Jeremy?
My number 2, I think, is maybe his. I
don't take my number 1. Come on.
The one I hear the least about, Prestige.
No.
Which I love. I love it so much that apparently I only have a DVD copy of it. I was looking for it earlier, and I'm like, do I not own this on Blu-ray? But I think it's maybe his tamest as far as the concept. But I like that about it. I like that he wasn't like trying to go nuts or in Flip's words, top himself like he does with Inception or Interstellar or all these other ones with these crazy concepts, Tenet. And I just love the performances, and I love a lot of the scenes in it, and I really like that movie a lot.
Just for the record, Flip has an obsession with people topping, and that's something that's always on his mind.
Not to be confused with what came out in the same year, The Illusionist, with Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, what the hell? We got 2 magician movies like in the same month, right? It was like back to back.
Yeah, it was like they might as well have been the same release day.
Yeah.
I love when that happens. I love how we got Dante's Peak and the other fucking I don't even remember the other volcano movie. Was it called Volcano? That came out the same year?
Joe Volcano?
Yeah. No,
Joe
it was
a volcano?
It was like a volcano in LA movie. Don't remember what it was, but
I really like Prestige, and I think it's his most underrated one. That's the one I hear the least about when people talk about Nolan.
Okay, my number 2 then. Flip, you're just taking all my picks. I'm sorry. Dunkirk. It is literally a masterpiece. I don't love war movies either. I really respect them and how much work they take, especially to do them properly, because a bad war movie is really obvious. And you can see that in years like when 1978 or 1978, 1917 and Midway both came out within like 3 months. And Midway was shit compared to 1917. And 1917, it relied on a gimmick. It was made to look like a one-shot movie, and it was really well done, and it was really well acted, and it was good, but it still wasn't this, like, I don't understand how it was nominated for so many Oscars, to be honest, but it was just so much better than Midway, and you can see the difference between a good one and a bad one. But with Dunkirk, one of the things obviously that Nolan has a fascination with, that we've obviously brought up a couple times, and Flip is about to harp on it like crazy, is time. Time in movies is such a big deal for Nolan. With it started with Memento, and it really came up from there, and it has grown into be, talking about the future, talking about time going in different segments at the same time, like in Interstellar. But with something like Dunkirk, when you have literally 3 different timelines going on at once, but the tension is ramped up in identical fashions throughout the 3 at the same time, that takes so much to be able to, obviously credit to his editor, but to be able to make that work in a way that brings those 3 storylines together, starts at the same time, ends at the same time, and you go on the journey that you absolutely want to be a part of. Now, the only other thing I wanted to say about that is I think the reason that I love this so much, you talked about the sound. I had one of my best theater experiences watching Dunkirk, and it's because my wife and I were the only ones in the theater. And we got that perfect spot right in the middle, halfway up the theater. The sound hit perfectly, and because nobody else was there, it sounded so hollow and meaningful with every single gunshot, and we could focus on everything. There wasn't anybody laughing or clapping at fucking awkward, ridiculous times. It was just an amazing experience, and we were stuck in our seat, and it was great. Yeah, Dunkirk is fantastic, and God, that cast, people that have never acted before, are freaking incredible in that movie. Anyways,
Nolan said about Harry Styles is that he reminded him of Heath Ledger when he.
I could see that.
I saw Dunkirk at the Chinese theater, and it was really good sound. Really
was it in Chinese?
Yeah. And let me tell you something. You haven't lived until you've seen Harry Styles dubbed over in English.
My number one, and again, I know I'm wrong with this opinion. Like, I know that I'm wrong. I know that I'm wrong with this opinion. I know that this isn't his best movie, but it's my favorite, and that's Tenet. I think Tenet is the idea alone is just so unique, and it just grabbed me right away. I think the opening scene where they go into the to the music hall, and I think that's just such an awesome set piece. I think the final set piece where they're in the war is such an awesome set piece as well. The highway scene is so cool. Again, people talk about you can't really hear. I don't know if it's because I am used to. I'm about 85% deaf mayor. I've never had an issue. Yeah, I've never had a true issue with his sound. I understood Tenet perfectly, and it does the same thing that kind of what Dunkirk did, where it just kind of. I'd rather watch Flip blow his 80-year-old self than rewatch Tenet.
I think that's the best comment.
I mean, we can make both happen.
Man. Speaking of time jumps,
Flip blowing his 80-year-old self while his 80-year-old self watches Tenet.
I just think it's a fun movie. I mean, Nolan crashed a fucking plane into a building for real. Like, it's I don't know. It's just such a cool idea. I think it does the thing like I was saying about Dunkirk. No real introduction, just kind of throws you in. You never learn Robert Pattinson's name, like his real name, like his true identity. You never learn what's his name, Denzel Washington's son. What's the actor's name?
Mr. Washington.
Mr. Washington. Mr. Young Washington. Mr. Young Washington, you never learned his name either. Just awesome. I know it's not probably anyone's favorite, but for me, it's the one I can rewatch the most. There's a really cool YouTube video where they show each of the big set pieces in both forward and backward time, and it's so cool to see both of like what's happening in real time. It's such a cool thing. I think the soundtrack's great. I think the trailer with the Travis Scott song is killer. I usually think it's cheesy when you have like a serious movie with a fucking rap song over it, but I think that Travis Scott song is great. It's in my workout playlist, and I rewatched the trailer over and over again too. Like, I love that trailer. When it first dropped, I was like, "Oh shit, this is gonna be great." I think Robert Pattinson's great. Yeah, just man, that opening scene gives me goosebumps for some reason. I can't really nail it down why, but that opening scene where they're at the concert, it's just God, so good.
Robert Pattinson is great. And speaking of the trailer, it kind of goes back to my feelings on it, which is that I did love the trailer, and I still really love the idea and the concept of Tenet. It just didn't pan out for me as well as I had hoped in the actual film.
That makes sense. All right. Ready for your number one?
Yeah. Continuing along the theme of Flip and I just being completely backwards of our top threes and bottom threes.
Let me guess.
Is Inception. This is just my favorite. I love everything about it. Next.
That's it. I think that he really establishes his casting with this movie. I really wanted to say that.
The cast is incredible. Maybe circling back to what Ryan said about time and how focused Nolan is on time in his films. I think Inception does an incredible job. That's always been something that interests me. I love time travel movies. And Inception does it way better than Interstellar does, even though they're different for different reasons. But
right,
I really love the writing in Inception. As a writer, I remember when I first saw it, and I was just blown away by like it doesn't hit quite as much on rewatches as it would upon first viewing, but just the concept of that film and how he pulls it off by the end for me was just, and the cast is great.
I can't imagine the amount of storyboarding that movie took.
Yeah,
so much work.
What do you think happens at the end, Jeremy?
We'll talk offline, Flip.
Why? Spoiler for a decade-old movie?
It sounded so sinister for some reason.
I'm gonna murder you in the
parking lot after, fucker.
Yeah. We'll talk after. I just want to hear Ryan's number one.
Well, first, I think I'm just going to break Jeremy's rule. I think it's been confirmed that because Michael Caine was there, it was real life.
Yep.
Because that's what Nolan told Caine.
God bless me.
Okay, so my number one, I don't understand, honestly.
I no longer have to see Flip after the show anymore.
Oh, good call.
I agree.
You don't have to come to his office afterwards. So I don't understand how this can be argued against. This is one of those, like, I think my opinion is right and everybody else is dumb. I'm just kidding. But genuinely, I think it is, if you break down every aspect of the film, it is hard to argue with the fact that The Prestige is Christopher Nolan's best film by a long shot.
Oh, glad you said that.
Like, by leaps and bounds.
When I said number two, and you said something about,
I said no.
Yeah, I thought for a second that it was, but then then your face made me think that it wasn't. But I'm glad it's number one.
Okay, so I can rant on this film for like hours and hours and hours. This is one of my favorite movies of all time by just sincerely everything about this.
Yeah, but do you own it on DVD?
Amazingly, I own this on 4K twice. I had to buy this because, oddly, the 4K in the US went out of print like 45 days after it was released, and the only 4K you could find of it was from the UK. So I imported that, and then they re-released it on 4K like a year later. So I bought that so I could have the US Steelbook, and I gave my 4K to somebody else. So technically I only have one, and they have the UK version. But so The Prestige. I think that naming the movie The Prestige was showing how much he had invested in this movie, because he was pulling a trick off on the audience. Like Jeremy just brought up, that Inception does not work as well on rewatches. I think The Prestige is his most rewatchable film, even though Flip and I together have seen The Dark Knight in theaters like 97 times. But that is because it's entertaining and fun. But The Prestige is genuinely like that movie from him that solidified this is an intelligent film. And I think the aspect of that really starts to dial this in is, I was talking about time. This is still a time movie, but it's concurrent time, because there are so many different realities for those individuals that, if you haven't seen it, I don't really want to say the actual twist of the movie here, but again, the casting in this movie is incredible. The supporting actors, even, I mean, fucking David Bowie is a master in this movie. He pulls off Tesla so perfectly. Out of nowhere, Christian Bale kills it. We have, I think it's Rebecca Hall, I think, is his girlfriend. That's the name, right? The one that we just talked about for the Night House. She completely sells one of the most underappreciated roles in the entire movie, and really, really kills it. Everybody else in this film just acts their asses off, but all of it's brought together by fucking Michael Caine. The dude is a bona fide absolute legend, and without him, this movie does not work as well as it does. But the lighting, the set pieces, the story itself, like I don't think anything he's directed is better written at all. I think Inception took a lot of work, but I think that The Prestige is a better masterwork of writing. I think that the way they explained everything, they went just to that level and laid enough Easter eggs for you to be able to figure it out, and didn't over explain it like they did with something like Interstellar. I think it is his perfectly mixed film for his level of pretension and his level of overcoming, I mean, frankly, overcoming himself to put out something that is genuinely magical. Like I adore that movie so much. I've already said too much.
I agree with all those points. I think David Bowie being in it is half the reason I love it so much.
Can I make a side comment about Nolan?
Yes.
I think one of his most underappreciated talents is that he can take David Goyer's writing and turn it into something good. Because that guy is a shit writer. No offense if you're watching, David Goyer.
I'm not the biggest David Goyer fan. Flip, did you turn your mic down?
Yep, it changed a lot.
Yeah, sorry, I muted it because I had to do something, and then I unmuted it.
Did you have to do what I wrote in the message board? Is that what you did?
Where?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah. Yes,
I saw you mute it.
Yes,
I saw you.
Yes, I did. Yes.
I literally saw you mute it for about 3 seconds and unmute it, and I'm like, he just started, didn't
he? Dude, you like how I had no expression on my face? I was just like,
yeah. He's just like, He's just listening to Ryan. My asshole is completely open right now.
Ryan and I were doing, I think we were like 10 episodes deep or something. And I was like, oh, hey, by the way, if you ever see me mute my mic, it's just because I'm farting. And he was like, oh, I was wondering why you were muting your mic so much.
That's great.
So anyways, I love how we went from Nolan to farts. Are there any movies that any of you didn't spend a lot of time talking about because they weren't one of your 6 that you wanted to bring anything up on? Flip?
I think Memento is such a good first watch. I think when you first see that, it's just like such a whoa. But yeah, I mean, overall, I don't truly hate a Nolan film. I think Nolan is a good director. I was obviously being a little silly with some of my comments on the films I dislike.
Even though you just said you weren't silly.
Come on.
Well, and also, I know Jeremy said he's seen all of them. Do you want to reveal if there's any that you haven't seen yet?
I've seen all of them.
I guess I'm the only loser here. I haven't seen Following, and I still haven't seen Tenet at all.
Oh, wow. So you can't even share your opinion on our viewpoints of Tenet, which for me and Flip are exactly opposite.
Yep. See, I'm going forward in time, and you're going backwards. I'm forward thinking, you're backwards thinking.
I'm going to give honorable mentions to Interstellar and Following. I think Following is an amazing first film by a writer-director, and you see nuggets of, things that Nolan will come to be known for. And I also love Interstellar. It has its faults for sure, and we've already touched on them when discussing it earlier, but I still love the concept of it. I've already talked about how much I love the time travel stuff, and I love space movies. So I actually combine like 2 of my favorite things. And it may not have been executed perfectly, and it may be Nolan trying to spoon feed or be a bit pretentious at moments throughout that film, but I still really love the film. My number 4 probably would be Dark Knight, which you guys both had on your top 3, and then Interstellar is probably number 5 for me on my list.
I think my 4 would have been Inception. I really genuinely love that movie, and I think that the cast in that is just, that'll never happen again, where they're able to get something like that for a movie like that. One thing that I was going to ask, and Dave has asked it twice, he really wants us to know, what is your favorite Nolan movie scene? Single scene.
How about you go first, Ryan?
I genuinely think either the bank heist in Dark Knight or the airplane scene in Dark Knight Rises, they have to be the main two that you're comparing, because they are both IMAX masterworks, and seeing them in the theater, both of them, it was one of those things where you're like goosebumps as you're watching these two scenes. Genuinely thrilling.
Cat Stevens wanted to say. I think honestly, mine.
Cat.
It's Cat Stevens. I think mine might be, if it wasn't obvious already, because it was my number one favorite Nolan film. I think mine is the spinning hotel room scene in Inception.
It's so well made.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's that planet on Interstellar, just because it's not too much of a crazy movie until you understand what's happening, and not too crazy of a scene until you understand what's happening. And when you do understand what's happening, you're like, oh shit, like, so cool. And that robot's so cool in that movie. That robot's awesome.
TARS.
That's cool.
Well, that was a really fun discussion. I think the series on Top 3 Bottom 3 is going to do pretty well, and I love.
And I think
go ahead.
I'd like to be a part of all of them.
Oh God.
I was just gonna say, I think, judging by the chat, I have the best taste.
Oh man, I don't know.
The chat, what?
He says he has the best taste.
Oh, ever since Flip farted, I can't hear him anymore.
It's pretty bad. I gotta be honest. It is very quiet compared to what it was before then.
I'll just talk like this.
That's better. I will pause it for best taste to say that I'm the only one that knew Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones, so I think that kind of proves that I have the best taste.
That's true.
I do love when we get two of the like very similar movies in the same year, just because one studio hears that they're making a movie like that.
Speaking of that, the ultimate example of that was just last year with the same fucking actor in it, with fucking Riz Ahmed. He's like, you know what? I'm going to do 2 movies about me being a musician and having to overcome adversity in some fashion.
Wait, there's another one other than Sound of Metal?
Yeah, he did Sound of Metal, and then he did Mowgli, however the fuck you pronounce it.
Dude, he is phenomenal in that show, The Night Of.
He's great. Yeah, he's a great actor, period. But except,
great.
well, Encounter, he wasn't so great. But, yeah. He did like 2 of the exact same movie in the exact same year, and he's in both of them.
And the main character.
That's the ultimate example of what you're talking about. What, Flip?
Marvel does that 3 or 4 times every year. They put out the same movie with just with different costumes and capes. It's really cool.
They're pulling the wool over our eyes every year.
All right. Well, you came in late, Jeremy. Is there anything that you've watched recently you want to highlight or discuss or anything?
I just binged in one day that show Yellow Jackets over the weekend.
Nice. Everybody's raving about that.
Really great. It's on Showtime Flip. It's about it jumps back in time between sometime in the early 2000s, I think. No, late 90s, I believe, to present day. About a girls' soccer team that crashes their plane. They were flying to some championship tournament, and the plane crashes on an island, and it jumps back and forth between them as young as like high school girls on the island and how they're surviving on there, and then also jumps to present day with the same characters now older and dealing with what they've done with the decisions they made on the island, and also someone's like trying to blackmail them and stuff like that. Great cast: Juliette Lewis, Melanie Linsky, Christina Ricci. Anyways,
I had not heard that one. I knew Melanie Linsky was in it, and she's getting rave reviews. I didn't know Ricci was in it.
Yeah, Ricci's in it. She's great. She's always great. I love Juliette Lewis too.
The other day for that show.
So I really enjoyed that. Huh?
Was there a big scene with Christina Ricci? Because she was trending on Twitter for that show.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, she's great in it.
Didn't the first season just end?
The first season just ended. The last episode was
That's probably why.
I believe. Or Saturday or Sunday of this past weekend, which I just binged the whole thing.
Stendhal is asking if anybody has watched Archive 81 yet.
What's that?
It's a Netflix series. I think it's an anthology type series, if I'm remembering the title correctly.
I did not.
I've not seen it yet.
I also just started watching Euphoria on HBO Max because I love A24 and I love Zendaya, and it is really good. Visually, it's beautiful. There's some really great cinematography in that show, and the writing is also fantastic. I think it deserves the hype that it's receiving. Season 2 just started, so I'm catching up with season 1 now. I saw the new Scream movie. Did you guys see that yet?
Not yet. I can't find a damn babysitter, so I can get out of the house.
I'll withhold my comments then for now. But I enjoyed it. And I also watched. I'm still trying to catch up on a few tail end of 2021 films before I finalize my best of 2021 list. So I watched The Hand of God, which I enjoyed very much.
Is that the Elijah Wood one?
No, it's the Italian film Pablo Sorrento.
Very different. What am I thinking of? Oh, No Man of God. Yeah.
He did The Great Beauty. It's like almost a biographical piece for him. It's on Netflix. I really enjoyed it a lot. It might be my favorite of his. And I also just watched Cyrano, which I don't think technically, even though it's in the award circuit for 2021, I don't think it comes out for another month or so. But I got a screener for it. With the Joe Wright version. Obviously, I think we've all heard the story of Cyrano told time and time again. This is Joe Wright's rendition with Peter Dinklage and Haley Bennett, who I've grown to really love after Swallow.
Yep, she's
phenomenal in Swallow. And I love Peter Dinklage, but that one didn't work for me. I wasn't a big fan of that.
Jeremy, I have a bone to pick with you.
Okay.
You gave Tragedy of Macbeth 2.5 stars.
But oh yeah. Why, you loved it? Flip?
I loved it. Loved it.
The acting is great, and obviously visually great. I mean, there's no denying that the acting is great. I mean, what a cast! Denzel, Frances McDormand. I just, aside from the visual aspect of it, I saw nothing different. I was hoping Joel Coen would do something different because I've seen Macbeth 8 billion cajillion times and 5,000 different. I've seen so many renditions of Macbeth, and he didn't do any. Again, aside from the visual aspect, which is what gave it that, and the acting is what gave it the 2.5 stars for me. There's just nothing different. I don't understand why it needed to be made. I almost fell asleep.
I think the real reason why you didn't like it is because they casted a black guy as a Scottish guy, and you are secretly racist. So you were like, no.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. That's my lawyer. I have to go.
No, I'm a sucker for that story. I think that's my favorite Shakespeare story. I own.
It's a great story.
Blood, the Polanski one, the Justin Kurzel one, I really like quite a bit. And then this one, I was blown away. I'm hoping we get a 4K because visually it is insane. Oh, by the way, that comes out on HBO Max February 1st.
Real quick thanks Ice Cube. Before I answer that, I mean, there's stuff I liked about it. Maybe I went in with the wrong expectations because I assumed that a Coen take on Macbeth would be slightly different when all it was every single version of Macbeth I've seen.
Well, and I don't know if this is a hot take because I know Flip doesn't agree with me, but I don't think genuine to the book Shakespeare adaptations need to happen anymore. We've seen them.
That's kind of my take on it. And I thought he was going to do something different, and he didn't. It was just a regurgitated Macbeth story with beautiful cinematography and great acting. But there was no need for me to give it more than an average star rating.
And that's why I love things like Clueless that will take a Shakespeare story and modernize it and make it something that we can all relate to. Go ahead.
Or something like Throne of Blood, where they retextualize it for feudal Japan instead of.
Exactly.
Do you know?
That's
Do
fine.
you know if the Cohen one is getting a 4K? Like, is that going to get a physical release?
It has not been announced yet, but it's A24, and they've only done, other than their 2 limited editions, they've only done, gosh, 3 wide release 4Ks so far. I think.
I personally really liked it, and I'm a sucker for, that's like I said, like just that story. I think that story is just really good and it's solid.
To answer Ice Q, I enjoyed Nightmare Alley. I didn't love it. To be fair, I watched it when I was back in Pennsylvania. I had another screener copy of it, and I watched it with my mom, who was talking over the whole thing. So that may have influenced my decision. She's the type of moviegoer who likes to ask questions that I have no fucking answers to because I'm watching it in real time with her. Yeah. But aside from that, I do think Brian, that's you. I do think it didn't need to be 2.5 hours. I love.
Oh, it's 2.5 hours.
I love neo-noir. I love that Guillermo del Toro took his stab at it. Obviously, it's a remake, and obviously, it wasn't written by him. So I think that influences part of it. The performances were great. The neo-noir aspect of it was great. I just have some pacing issues with it. I don't think it had to be 2.5 hours. That being said, I do want to give it a second chance, especially because of the mom thing when I watched it. So I did out here. They're doing a brief theater run of the actual noir version of it in black and white.
Nice.
With Guillermo del Toro doing a Q&A afterwards. So I'm going to they did it at the New Beverly, like I think 2 days ago, but I'm going to the Arrow Theater in Santa Monica, in like I think it's not this weekend, but next weekend, and he'll be there doing a Q&A, and it'll be the black and white version. So I was like, well, if I'm gonna give it another shot, I might as well see the black and white version and give that one a look-see. So we'll see. I'll have a full report on it after that.
How do you feel about Guillermo del Toro overall? Are you a big fan of his old stuff?
He's hit and miss with me.
I'd agree with that.
Flip's face, because I love obviously Pan's Labyrinth. That's right. I love that whole trilogy that Criterion put out, not just Pan's Labyrinth. And I also really love, and I know this is a semi-unpopular opinion, but I love Crimson Peak. I think it's beautiful.
It's a good movie.
It is incredibly haunting.
What I don't really like by him off the top of my head is Mama.
I don't think he directed that.
He didn't direct that? I thought he did.
I don't think so. Let me see.
Flip's like, nope.
He did not.
Blade 2.
Oh, what was I thinking of? He's involved with that, right?
Yeah, he produced it.
Okay.
He has only directed Kronos, Mimic, The Devil's Backbone, Blade 2, Hellboy, Pan's Labyrinth, Hellboy 2, Pacific Rim, Crimson Peak, Shape of Water, and Nightmare Alley.
Okay, so that's the one. Okay, so when I say hit or miss, then the big miss is Pacific Rim for me. I love the Hellboy. I fucking
Pacific Rim is awesome, dude. What are you talking about?
I wish that we had.
Movie.
I'm waiting. Oh, I had another tab open with IMDb. I love the Hellboys. I wish we had 3. I don't know if that'll ever happen. Obviously, I love Kronos, Devil's Backbone, and Pan's Labyrinth. That's that trilogy I was talking about earlier. I enjoyed Shape of Water, and I know that's a controversial one as well. I already mentioned Crimson Peak. I also love. I know he didn't direct every episode, but I love The Strain, the TV show The Strain. So he's more a hit than miss. Pacific Rim is okay to me, and also obviously, as we just touched on, Nightmare Alley was also just okay for me so far. I'm going to give it another shot. I don't think I've ever seen Mimic.
Mimic's great, dude. It really is.
It is pretty good.
My favorite is Blade 2. And there's a
He
really
directed
funny
Blade 2?
thing.
He did.
Dude, he directed Blade 2. It's so cool. There's a really funny thing in the commentary. He has one of my favorite commentaries ever where he's talking about the design of all the tunnels. And he's like, yeah, they all look like vaginas because I love vaginas. And I just thought that was such a funny comment. And that has stuck with me for decades now. How old is that movie? 20 years old?
Let me say this about Guillermo del Toro, by the way. And I mean, as I say this preface, I know it's going to come across this way. I don't mean to sound like, oh, I'm in Hollywood and do. This is a genuine comment about Guillermo del Toro, who I really do love. He's the sweetest man, super generous. Because when I saw Shape of Water and he did a Q&A, and it was at the Cinerama Dome at ArcLight, I mean, Ryan, you know from having lived out here how huge that theater is.
Yeah.
I would say at least half that theater of a sold out crowd wanted to like talk to him and get an autograph or get a picture or whatever. He stayed for like fucking 4 hours after that movie, just standing outside the theater with people.
I've heard that before, that he is very good with that.
He's cute. He's cute as a button.
The big thing for me with him is that it's clear that he loves this stuff. And that's why I really hope he sticks to things like Pan's Labyrinth, like Shape of Water. I'm really excited for this whole Pinocchio story thing. I got to admit, there is one that he produced that I think feels more like a it feels more like a Del Toro film than most Del Toro films, and that's The Orphanage. I fucking love that movie. It is so well done, and it's like a lead into Crimson Peak that just works so well. Great movie.
I love
Crimson Peak. I personally love him, and he's a huge weeb. Like as an anime fan, like he is.
Yeah.
Like I mean, Pacific Rim is a prime example of that. Like he knows his mecha and his kaiju. He's a huge comic book fan. I think Hellboy. I think his Hellboys are just great.
R. Brooks in our chat says Hellboy 2: The Golden Army is an S tier Del Toro film.
Don't disagree.
I love it. I love the Hellboy franchise. And I still hope someday we'll complete that trilogy.
I'm just shocked you're such a David Harbour fan.
Me? I like David Harbour. I don't like that version of Hellboy, but I like him.
And here's the thing, Hellboy is my favorite comic book universe ever. So when they started, for real, I love Hellboy.
I've never heard you speak of the comics at all.
Hey, aren't I a huge Hellboy fan? I love Hellboy. I read all the BPO.
Were you just talking to your dog?
Spin-off shows. I was talking to my wife. She's over here. Yeah, hey dog. You know I'm a huge Hellboy.
I always saw you bring your dog in the frame, so I didn't know anything.
And he called it Tay, right? Your cat is Cat Stevens. He was calling Tay dogs.
I like that.
That's good. But I'm a huge fan of the Hellboy comics, and they were adapting really good storylines. So I was super pumped. Everything that they were showing was looking good, and then just the movie ended up being dog shit poo poo, probably because Mila Jovovich is involved. Name a good movie she's in other than Fifth Element.
And other than Resident Evil?
He's had a good movie.
Good movie. Those are guilty pleasure movies. I love those movies. They're bad.
What is a good Mila Jovovich movie? I bet you I can find one.
We'll be here a while. Eric in our chat says, biggest regret is not going to the Cinerama Dome to see Fantasia when I was out there in the 80s or 90s. Passed by it and never got there.
Oof. That would be a big regret.
That'd be fun.
I'm so jealous of you, Jeremy, because you can just go to the New Bev. Like, they have, like, Kung Fu months all the time.
Dude, I go to the New Bev at least, like, probably once a week, if I'm being 100% honest. I'm going tomorrow.
So fucking cool, dude.
Tomorrow they're doing a double feature of Argento's Arbedo. Is that how you pronounce it?
Arabado
and Videodrome.
Mr. Arabado?
And then the following week I'm seeing Magnolia, which is my second favorite PTA film. I'm probably there like once a week. Next month. Yeah.
Is he cool?
Yeah, he's really nice.
That's good.
So to go down that line, Flip, Jeremy messaged me yesterday. Because yesterday is when the video came out. He goes, I just watched a review on Dinner in America. Loved it. By the way, I know Pat and Mary Lynn Rice Cub. I don't know. I've never heard of the movie. I'm friends with both of them. I'm like, What world am I in that this is just a friend just saying, yeah, I'm just casually friends with both of these people
Well,
now?
I like that Jeremy's our friend.
Pat's great because I did a short film with him, and he's such a cool guy, and he's so down to earth. And then
you didn't know he made a fucking movie?
I don't know I don't know his entire filmography.
And to be fair, the movie really went under the radar. It is not something that
I'm surprised I haven't heard of that one though, because it seems like it's 100% right up my alley, and I love it.
It is a very Jeremy movie, yeah.
Mary Lynn, I've known for a couple years now, and through comedy because she's a big stand-up comedian. That's her first love before acting. I know a lot of people know her from 24, which is like such a non-Mary Lynn role because she's really just a comedy person. I was gonna look up Mila Jovovich films and I give up.
I looked it up and I found Zoolander.
She was in. Oh, that's right. She was
Katinka, and then she was also in He Got Game and Dazed and Confused and Chaplin and Cuffs. I had no idea about any of those.
I like Cuffs, 10 minutes. And I like obviously Dazed and Confused.
Yeah,
Dazed and Confused is great. That's the best movie of all time.
Eric says, I knew Pat Healy's brother vaguely and his former roommate who worked at the film center in the 90s. Pat Healy is, I was telling Jeremy, he is like a gift to cinema. Everything he touches is so great. Like in The Innkeepers, oh my gosh, he was fun in that movie.
Yeah, he's great. What is that one he did with Keckner?
Oh, that movie is amazing. Cheap Thrills.
Yeah. I love that movie. Keckner's big in the comedy scene out here too.
We should do a bottom three for Quentin.
That's on our list. That's going to be a big one.
I want to be a part of that one.
You got it.
I was just going through my letterbox to circle back to you asking me what I've watched recently. I was at the New Bev just last week, and I saw a double feature of The Final Girls and Teen Witch. That was a lot of fun because I love The Final Girls.
Wow, The Final Girls is so good.
It's so much fun, and it was a brand new print of it. Huh?
What time do these start? Like these double features, like
7:30.
What time do you get there? What time do you get out of there?
It starts at 7:30, and I pretty much am getting there like right when it starts because I only got off work at 7. And then, depending on the lengths of the films, it's anywhere between 11 and midnight, I guess, roughly. They usually do a little intermission in between the two, and they also have personalized trailers before each one. I mentioned Hand of God. I mentioned Scream. A buddy of mine had not seen Nobody, and I knew it was right up his alley. Nice. So we rewatched Nobody. I fucking love that movie. So good.
That movie. That fucking double headshot with the sniper rifle.
I know. I love. It's so good. I love Christopher Nolan in that so much.
He's so good. He looks.
He's so good in that.
He aged really hard in the 80s and then just didn't age from that moment on. He looks exactly the same.
It's very true. I went to the premiere of The Tender Bar, which he was also in last year at the Chinese Theater.
I've heard that's great.
I really enjoyed it. It's and he was there doing a Q&A. They had almost the entire cast was there. Ben Affleck and him, Christopher Lloyd, and what's the kid's name? God, I forget. No, he was in Ty Sheridan is the kid, and then they had the younger version of the kid too. Anyways, and you can tell. I mean, even though just to stem off of Flip's comment, even though he has stopped aging kind of as rapidly from the 80s, you can tell he's in his 80s because he was like spacing out completely during this Q&A. They'd ask him a question, he'd be like, "Oh, what? Oh," and then he'd like give like this completely unrelated answer. He was just like not even really there at the Q&A. I also watched France, which I really enjoyed, and The Comeback Trail. Did you guys hear about that one?
I have not
yet either, but I got a screener. It's Robert De Niro, Zach Braff, Morgan Freeman, and Tommy Lee Jones, and they're making Robert De Niro and Zach Braff are uncle nephew producer team like of B movies in Hollywood, and they want to make, and all their movies are flops. Morgan Freeman is this high roller that helps them fund the movies, but Robert De Niro hasn't been able to pay him back for the last couple, and he's in debt. And then so he's trying to make one more big hit Western with Tommy Lee Jones, who's like some like John Wayne type character in the movie who hasn't been in the movie in like a couple decades.
Odd. That is, it immediately screams like that bank heist movie that Morgan Freeman and a couple of the other. What movie was that? I don't even remember. I never saw it.
With Ben Stiller. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, it was same sort of thing. It was like a whole bunch of retired guys breaking into a bank, and then you see them like walking away from the parking lot because they're so old. And I swear it was like 4 years ago, and I never saw it because
I know what you're talking about.
It sounds awful.
Comeback Trail had a few LOL moments, but overall it was pretty bad and cheesy. And then I saw that movie, The 355, in theaters, and that was god awful too.
Going in Style, I think, is the one with Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, and Alan Arkin.
I love Alan Arkin,
and that's why I thought they were the same, because that director was Zach Braff.
Oh, that's right. He did direct that. Well, Zach Braff's in this one. He didn't direct it.
Wow.
Lastly, I went to the Los Feliz Theater. Nice little small theater. And I saw the 4K restoration of Dennis Hopper's Out of the Blue. With
oh, nice. That's coming out on Severin soon.
Yeah, they were talking about, the producers were there talking about the Severin release afterwards in a Q&A. That's a great film. Underground classic. And then I was about to leave, and they said that showing was at 7, and they're like, stick around because at 10 o'clock we're doing a 35mm print of Gummo.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I was like, all right. So I stuck around for Gummo.
Gummo, my favorite song by Tekashi 6ix9ine.
All right.
So those are my recent watches over the last week or two.
Dave wants to know, is there any upcoming movies you're looking forward to?
Yes.
Is that really an upcoming movie, though? That's a 2023 release now.
Which one?
Is it? Has it been pushed to 2023?
Yeah.
It was supposed to be this
Which
year.
one?
Oh.
John Wick 4.
Damn.
Yeah, it got pushed back to 2023. They have to do some filming in Japan, and Japan's pretty cracked down right now. So
that makes sense. That
was my obvious answer, because that movie is not going to be good, and I don't. I want to be optimistic, but
I love that the question is movies you're looking forward to, and then you're like, it's not going to be good.
I'm looking forward to it. I want it to be good, but everything in my heart is telling me, don't get your hopes up, because the cast is too good to be true. The writing team, they kicked off the original writer. Lionsgate fired him, and the two guys who wrote parts of 3 have also done the Hitman movies. They did the Army of the Dead with Zack Snyder. One of the guys wrote that, so the writing credits aren't very good. But a part of me still has hope, because the guy who wrote Chernobyl wrote the Scary Movie. So you can still do some good stuff, you know. Obviously, Northman, or is it Northman or Norseman?
Norseman.
I want to see Eggers do a revenge movie in his style.
I think it's Northman.
Is it Northman?
I think so.
I'm really looking forward to that too. And if we're on the A24 chain, that new trailer for X just dropped.
It looks so good. Dude. I love Ty West.
Ty West.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to. Clearly, I'm looking forward to the new Uncharted movie. Just kidding.
If I can say an answer that sounds silly, that is genuine 100%, I cannot wait to see Jackass Forever in theaters.
Dude, me too. That's not silly.
As a big fan and celebrity lookalike, I'm really looking forward to Dave Grohl's Studio 666.
Yes. Looks fantastic.
I thought that you were going to say the new Weird Al biopic starring Daniel Radcliffe.
I just heard of. Well, I actually knew about that, but that's not coming out this year. Well, his guitar player Kimo is a friend of mine.
I love you. Of course. you know that game, like 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever. You need to do one for Jeremy Long because
I'm only 1
you
degree
know
from Kevin
everybody.
Bacon.
That's
because I was in
what? How?
Well, because I was in Jack Reacher when it was filming in Pittsburgh, starring Tom Cruise, who was in Few Good Men. I guess that's only 2 degrees, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
So 2 degrees.
That's a lot better than any of us.
Well, I drove by a Scientology building. Tom Cruise is a Scientologist. Boom.
I was walking in Hollywood like right before the holidays, and this big Scientology center right on Hollywood Boulevard, like I think it's the main one. They had this big like Christmas setup with like decorations and a tree and stuff like that. But the Kingsman's already out. Didn't that come out? It came out on Christmas.
It's getting
lukewarm
reviews from what I read.
I liked it. I thought it was. It's not as good as the first two, but I still liked it.
I haven't seen Licorice Pizza. I'm looking forward to that.
Licorice Pizza?
Yeah.
I like Licorice Pizza a lot. Anyways, a bunch of families were taking pictures in front of this big Christmas setup that was in front of the Scientology Center. And there's this big L. Ron Hubbard like thing right above the Christmas tree. And I'm like, people, it's just a bunch of tourists being like, oh, and I'm just like, do they know what they're taking a picture in front of?
No, they don't.
No.
One I'm genuinely looking forward to seeing is Lightyear. I can't wait for that.
The Thin Blue Line Buzz Lightyear movie?
Yes. Looks fantastic.
Guys, lest us not forget the unbearable weight of massive talent.
Honestly, looks incredible.
It's gonna be.
He is going to be amazing in that.
It's gonna be great. Also, let's not forget about the Bob's Burger movie, which
of course
also may sound like a silly answer, like what Ryan said a second ago, but I'm 100% serious.
Yeah, that show is amazing.
Isn't the new Scorsese movie supposed to come out this year? It's a Western starring De Niro, Leonardo DiCaprio. That's supposed to be this year.
Is it? What's it called?
Yeah. It's based on a book. Blood Moon or some Flower of the Blood Moon. Yeah. It's been filming.
I didn't think that was Scorsese.
Yeah, Martin Scorsese is directing it. It's an Apple TV exclusive.
While Ryan's looking that up, despite what happened last year, I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did. Halloween Kills.
Can't wait.
But I'm looking forward to Halloween Ends, and I'm looking forward to it's completing the trilogy this October.
Oh my god.
And then as long as there isn't 18 more variants, we'll hopefully still have it this October.
There will be.
I'm also looking forward to, of course, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, because first of all, Into the Spider-Verse is mind-bogglingly good. We've already talked about that on the last show I was a guest on. And I just love Phil Lord and Chris Miller so much that there's no way that can't be good.
So I don't see an actual release date, but 2022 is bringing Killers of the Flower Moon, directed by Martin Scorsese and starring Leo DiCaprio, Jesse Plemons, Brendan Fraser, Robert De Niro, John Lithgow, Pat Healy, and
read the plot.
Randomly at the end, Sturgill Simpson. Sturgill Simpson is so great,
Sturgill
genuinely.
I now know what you're talking about because of Brendan Fraser, and I remember watching an interview where he actually got emotional because of how much kind of a comeback he's making.
Read the plot, Ryan.
It says members of the Osage tribe in the United States are murdered under mysterious circumstances in the 1920s, sparking a major FBI investigation involving J. Edgar Hoover.
I can't wait, dude. I cannot wait for that movie.
Guys,
Scorsese.
In December, Avatar 2 is finally coming out, apparently.
Shut the fuck up, Jeremy.
That's what it says.
Oh, Batman. We haven't talked about Batman.
The Batman.
I mean, that one's kind of understood, though.
Also,
my personal.
I know Flip doesn't like them, but I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
I am too.
And the last couple Mission Impossibles have been.
Yes,
so Mission Impossible 7 is probably hopefully. that your dog?
That's my wife.
Was that Tay Dogs?
I'm doing a
Tay Dogs?
I'm doing a fucking podcast. Don't make me come over there and beat you.
Here's my last one. Don't forget about December 21st on a Wednesday. Apparently, Super Mario Bros. The movie is coming out, starring
Christopher
Jared
Pratt
Leto. Starring Jared Leto. What?
and Chris Pratt.
Oh, is he in that?
Yep.
My Jared Leto one was a joke. I don't think he was actually in it.
Chris Pratt actually is.
Morbius also starring Jared Leto, which I'm not looking forward to.
You're not?
Okay, well, I just don't really like Jared Leto. I'll still go see it for sure, but I don't have high expectations for it.
My most anticipated movie is Havoc.
Sardis says, "Hope you're sarcastic about Mission Impossible." What do you mean? They've been great.
Dude, they're great.
Fallout was so good.
Dude, fucking what's his name? Superman. What's his name?
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill reloads his biceps in that movie.
He did. That's such a great sequence.
That was perfect.
He's like, you know what? I can't bring up Henry Cavill without jumping offline because I get a little too.
God damn it, Tay Dogs!
You got a little too heated about your Henry Cavill. You gotta.
I love him, dude. I love him. I love him.
That was just one really long fart.
Dude, here's the thing about the Mission Impossible franchise is that
hold on, look at his opinion. I stopped watching after the third one. That's why
they get so good.
The first three were trash, which is crazy because one of them's a De Palma film. But
Brian De Palma,
so much better.
J.J. Abrams, John Woo. Like the three worst movies are directed by, besides J.J. Abrams, are directed by two great directors.
J.J. Abrams is a great director. You can't take that away.
Philip Seymour Hoffman tried to redeem number 3 so much. I mean, he's great in it, but it's not a good movie.
No, dude. Seriously,
with much better.
With all my heart, they are easily the best Hollywood action movies. Easily.
John Wick begs to differ, but.
Well, okay. I guess. I mean, I don't know. They're fucking great. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? They're awesome.
Thor: Love and Thunder also comes out this year.
My most anticipated movie is Havoc. Gareth Evans, the director of The Raid and Raid 2. He has a movie coming out on Netflix. I follow him on Instagram. He's been posting like little screenshots here from the stills. It has his like color grading that I love, like his style that I love.
Is it confirmed for 2022 though? That's my question.
He said it's going to be tail end of 2022. He said it's going to take months and months to finish the editing. Tail end of the year, which I'm hoping I don't have a massive heart attack and die before, because it's the one thing I'm living for. Is that
fingers crossed? Isn't your wife still in the room?
Yeah, she's right there.
Yeah, that's the one thing Flip's living for is that movie.
As by the way, this is the person that almost died on stream less than a month ago.
I know. I was genuinely concerned. As much as I hate Flip, I was super concerned. I was watching from PA, and I was.
I love that you're so flippant about that.
Jeremy sent me a really nice message telling me that that he loves me and that he's worried about me, and that
I was.
Jeremy's a good guy.
He also sent me a message saying, "Watch this epic prank. I'm going to make Flip think people care about him."
Hey, my name is Jeremy. Welcome to Jackass, and this is make Filippo think he's loved.
Yeah. This is the new 2022. We're not going to kick each other in the balls anymore. We're talking about emotional pranking now.
We're going to emotionally scar Filippo.
Traumatic nut shots. Love it.
I'm seeing if there's anything else that jumps out at me for this year. I'm not seeing.
I'm more excited for TV shows.
Favorite TV shows this year or of all time?
Gangs of London's coming out this year. The second season of that. Super pumped about that. I guess a TV show. Never mind. I was only excited for one. I can't think of the rest.
The new season of part 1 of the new season of Ozark is coming out soon on Netflix.
Yeah, this week, right?
Is it this week? Oh, it might be.
I think so.
Oh, you know what else I'm looking forward to? I think it's going to be a lot of fun because it seems very self-aware. Is that Kristen Stewart Netflix show, or not Kristen Stewart, Kristen Bell Netflix show.
Oh yeah,
title, the girl in the window across the street,
across the floor. Yeah,
whatever. I think that's going to be really fun.
It looks really good. You confused me with Stewart there. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I messed up. It's Kristen Bell, who I love because I'm obsessed with Veronica.
She's fantastic. And then nobody has brought it up yet. One of my favorites. I love Jordan Peele. I can't wait for Nope. We don't know anything about it, but
all right.
Yeah, that comes out this
year.
That's a nope from me.
That's because never mind. I don't want to be any more
I love
insulting.
Get Out. Us, I was a little bit about, but
that's how I feel about it. I think Get Out's great. I think Us was.
I still think Us was a better movie.
Then
you can nope and Get Out.
And it's the same way that I felt about Interstellar. I think Get Out was very spoon feedy, and I think Us was a lot more introspective.
I can see
that. So it's like, you know what?
Yeah. I'm just vibing right now. I'm just thinking.
I love Flex came in here late. He said, "What's going on? Wait, Flip collects Chinaware now?
Why? What did I say?
Look behind you.
Oh yeah, this is my this is my China cabinet collection, guys.
His iPhone 4 died. And he had to move
Taylor's laughing.
His
Someone
iPhone
wrote
4
Flip
died.
collects China cabinets now. Chinaware. Yeah, guys, this one's from Japan. It was made in 1854. A samurai fist in that pot right there.
Make sure you bring me back on when we do the Kristen. Jesus, I'm still stuck on the Kristen Stewart.
The Kristen Stewart bottom three, top three.
That one.
Honestly, Kristen Stewart is an incredible actress. I'd be all about that.
She's phenomenal. That would be a fun one. I was gonna say,
I don't like women.
Top three, bottom three.
You're like piss off Tay Dogs.
Okay, they're all calling you Tay Dogs.
They're all. It's just been me hammering in the worst.
She
joke
said that
ever.
was legit. That was legitimately her. That was legitimately her nickname in high school. That was her nickname in high school, so that's perfect.
Was it? Tay Dogs.
Yeah, for real? Was it really Tay Dogs? It was for real, Tay Dogs.
Turns out you're not as original as you thought, Ryan.
She was in softball.
That checks out.
We should also Flip brought up Licorice Pizza. I think it'd be fun to do a PTA top three, bottom three.
I agree.
Oh, dude. Oh my god, that'd be so hard.
It'd be hard.
And then
I have a list.
Flip, you brought up Harry Styles earlier. I don't even know if you know this one's coming because we've never talked about it. Don't Worry, Darling. It's coming out in September. It's Olivia Wilde's second directed film, and it's got Harry Styles and Florence Pugh as a seemingly perfect 1950s couple who become consumed by a dark secret. It's a psychological thriller. Features Olivia Wilde in a supporting role with the cast with Nick Kroll and Chris Pine.
Huh.
I love Florence.
I love
Harry Styles.
Florence Pugh was the best part about Black Widow. And
I would agree there, but I didn't think the movie was bad. I just think that she was the best part.
I love her, and I love Olivia Wilde, so I think that's going to be great.
Ice will know. Speaking of Black Widow, Ice will know this, but there's a group I'm in, and there's a dude who's just very sexist, like legitimately. And he was like, "Does anyone think Scarlett Johansson was a little too fat to be in Black Widow?" And now every time he comments on something, I'm like, "What'd you think of the actress's body? Are you going to give us that opinion too?" Like I just troll him just to see what he says, and he doesn't get it. Ice knows exactly what I'm talking about.
And I know it's all about sequels, but I think we're supposed to get Knives Out 2 this year as well.
Are we?
Fuck.
Knives Out was incredible.
Why are you laughing at that?
Just to the way you said it. Flip's just like.
Artie Lang has never been happy in his life.
I'm happy. I'm in a room talking to two people I love with the woman of my dreams right next to me and a dog who and my dog who has schizophrenic. Who's schizophrenia. Dude, my dog will sit there and she'll just be like, and just like bolt, and you're like, what the fuck just happened to you? And then she'll walk around and she'll be like,
oh, my cat Stevens just took a big shit. Sorry, I just got a big wolf of it.
Does he have cat scratch fever?
Dude, I was trying so bad. Cat Stevens won't let me get a second cat, but I had one for like 2 weeks, Sir Paul McCartney. And
you shut up, Jeremy. This is why you're a riot.
She will not let me have another cat. That's why I had to give up Sir Paul to a friend of mine. But I wish I could keep Sir Paul. And then what I would have loved to have done, because I've always wanted 3 cats, is to complete the trilogy with my third cat, Chairman Meow.
All hail.
Flip left.
Yep, that joke was too good.
He was over it.
No,
he had the part.
I have a question for you guys.
He had a fart.
Have you guys ever had a beta fish before?
I did.
All of mine were
we just got one. So we just got
very young.
So we just got one for the kiddo, and I put food on the top, and it hasn't eaten it.
It's not hungry.
Feed it another
Will it
fish.
just eat whatever it's hungry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just worried that maybe
keep an eye on it. Check it again in an hour or 2 or something. But
just shake
like 5 hours.
tank really hard.
Yeah. What you should do is scoop them out of there, put them in the toilet, and then give them some fresh food in the. I had a beta fish, Lieutenant Shiny Sides, when I was like 12. Listen, my mom did not want the classic pets like a dog or a cat because that's good. She was too worried about them shedding because I get my OCD and like clean freak likeness from my mother, and she didn't want an animal that shed. So I had like every other animal that you could possibly think of as a pet, and I had like mice and gerbils and hamsters and rabbit. These were I had 4 mice. This was their names because this was how creative I was at age 12 or whatever the hell it was. The first one was Mousy.
Brilliant.
The second one, Black Eye, because he had a black spot on his eye. Not Black Guy, Flip. Black Eye.
I didn't say shit, all right?
That was the problem.
Third one was Checkers, because it looked like a checkerboard. And then the fourth and final one, Bob. Just Bob. But then we found out
2 O's.
We found out it was a female mouse, so I changed it to Bobalina.
Hey Tay, what did Bridge name the fish? Yeah, the fish's name is Sissy Doodah.
That's a great fish name.
That's a great. I know, right? It's a great name.
I love that.
I went to PetSmart and I had to FaceTime her, and she picked out the one she wanted. She's like, that one. I want that one. Did I tell you, Ryan? Did I tell you what happened? I told Ryan this. We ordered a fish online. It came decomposed. Dead.
Jeremy's like waiting for a punchline.
It wasn't.
So Taylor calls me and goes, hey, the fish is at the post office. You have to go pick it up. I was like, all right. So I show up to the post office because you can't leave it out in the cold. So I go to the post office and they're like, oh yeah, are you here for because everyone knows me at that. They're like, hey, are you here for the fish? And I was like, yeah. And the woman goes, I have a feeling it's going to be dead. And I was like, why? And she's like, well, someone bought fish last week and they showed up dead. It's just not a good year to be shipping fish in the mail. And I was like, I hope to God not. So I walk in and my kid's like, my fishy's here. And I was like, yeah, let's calm down. We open it up and it's just in brown water because the flesh had rotted.
Wow.
In the water.
I literally didn't even know that was a thing, that you buy fish online and they
find out on Amazon.
That should not be a thing for that exact reason. I didn't know that was a thing. Why? How can you ship a fish?
Because they get a giant cardboard box. They put like a cup of water and a fish in the corner of it, and then it just shakes the entire time.
So it was in a styrofoam box. It was in styrofoam box, which was really well packaged. And then in the styrofoam box, there was a hole with a plastic bag full of water with another plastic bag full of water inside the water. I don't know.
I just don't think that, regardless of how well it's packaged, I don't think a fish is supposed to be like bouncing around fucking in the back of a truck and what any other transportation like that for several days.
In January.
We bought our dog online. We bought our dog from Puppy Spot. They like ship your dog to you. And we bought our car online. The Carvana.
I don't like where this is headed.
This has turned into a weird show.
I actually ordered my wife online. Farmers only.
Maybe
she is maybe a god damn it. You don't have to be lonely.
Don't forget, the only thing Flip is living for currently is that new movie Havoc.
Oh, and also I am living for
hidden profile on JD.
I'm living for one other thing too. Elden Ring. I don't know if you guys have played any From Software games. Masterpiece. Every game that this Hidetaki Miyazaki has done. That's where this tattoo comes from. Hero. So you guys have heard of Dark Souls, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're doing an open world game, fully open world. You can go anywhere on the map at any time. That was supposed to be out on my wife's birthday. And I actually told her, I said, "Hey, don't expect me hanging out with you on your birthday."
Such
Elden Ring comes out, and she was like, "Are you?" She was like, "You're being are you?" I'm like,
she should know by now. She's married to you.
She loves.
She should know you're serious.
I'm not serious. I'm not. Well, she's out of the room right now.
Already laying stops for no one.
How many tattoos
no, seriously,
do you have?
I just have two. I have a Seven Samurai one right here because it's my favorite movie.
Yeah.
And then I have, I don't know, it doesn't, because I'm so hairy, it like makes it look muted. But here's the prayer beads, the sword going through, and the moon with the branches. It's not really showing.
No, I see it.
But yeah. This was a big deal in my family. My mom is a hardcore Sicilian, hates tattoos, and when I got the little one, she was like, it's little, it's whatever. Then when I went for my second one,
yeah,
I had told my tattoo artist, this girl named Sam, she's fucking amazing. I said, "Hey, this is what I want. It's my favorite video game of all time. This boss battle was the boss battle was great because you're walking on a bridge, there's these cherry blossoms falling. It's set in feudal Japan, and this monk appears. It's like 7 foot tall. The boss is called the Corrupted Monk, and it was amazing. The music's great, just an epic moment. I showed her what the monk looked like, and in my head I was thinking something about this size, right? I would just get it on the other side. So I show up, and on her tablet she goes, "This is what I drew," and I was like, "That's beautiful. Let's do it." And then she printed out the stencil, and I was like, "That's fucking huge." I was like, "My mom." I said to my tattooist, I said, my mom is gonna kill me," and she was like, "Your mom?" Like, "You're almost 30," and I was like, "You don't understand." I was like, "My mom will fucking murder me for this." So she goes, "Look, if you get it smaller, you're gonna lose detail. If you need to get it big." She goes, "You don't have to do it on your arm. You can do it on your leg. You can do it on your back, whatever, on your bicep." So I FaceTimed my wife and I said, "Hey, is this okay?" She's like, "Yeah, it's fine." And then I got it. I got it the first half done, like the first session. Went to work and my mom was like not happy. And then the second session with all the color, she was like, "You're dead to me, son. Don't. We're not ever gonna have a relationship outside of work again. You're such a disappointment." And Jeremy, I've never done anything bad. I literally have worked from 4th grade full time till now.
How long ago was this? Does she still feel this way?
No, this was last summer. So she doesn't care anymore. But I'm really petty, and I got it on my left arm, but I'm actually right-handed. So at work, because we work together, and anytime she wanted something, I handed it to her with my left hand, so she was forced to fucking look at my arm.
Of course she did.
She was not happy, but then she got over it. And then my dad's so cool. I showed him, I was telling him, "Dad, I get a tattoo." And he's an old hippie. He's like, "I don't care. You're good. You're a pretty good guy. You pay your bills. You're a good dad. Who gives a shit?"
I
was like, "All right."
I could never picture my dad saying, "You're a pretty good guy."
Dude, well, I work with my dad all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like both my parents. But my dad and I get there in the morning, so we're around each other all the time.
What's ironic about that story is that my mom is the complete opposite. She has more tattoos than I do. Complete opposite of your mom. And
that's cool. Well,
I only have 5.
So in my family, because my family's from Sicily and the old people hate tattoos. My cousin who's my age got "fuck the 50" tattooed on his chest. And he has a master's degree in biology. He's really smart, but he got drunk one night and got "fuck the 50." This was years ago. He showed up we showed up to I think Christmas dinner, and his lip was still swollen because he got it tattooed. And my grandparents were like, "What happened?" And he goes, "Oh, I got into a bar fight." So a bar fight's all right, but getting a tattoo, no, no bueno. But then my other cousin, who's younger, he's 22. We call him the Fonz because his name is Alfonso. We just call him Fonz. He has 23 tattoos. So he like overnight he broke the ice. Like the whole family reacted. They were like, "What the fuck?" And then now it's whatever. And then my dad, he's like, "Man, you've always been an extremist. Go big or go home, right?" Because it's literally like my whole forearm is just a fucking demon on my arm. I'm getting another one too.
Tattoos?
I do. I have 5 as well.
Oh, we both have 5.
I've got one on each of my limbs and one on my back, and the one on my right arm is actually a cover-up of the exact same tattoo, but done in really shitty prison-style green. Yeah, I did my original design. I lied about my age to get a religious tattoo when I was 17 years old for something that I designed when I was like 14. And then years later, when I was wanting to still be religious, I went back, and after I had real adult money, I went and got it done properly and with all the colors and everything.
Can we
And
see
now
it?
it's too big. Maybe it's looks like a stained glass window. Let me see if I can move this down. It says "body piercing saved my life" with the big crown of thorns, and it's way too big.
Ryan and I are so alike that not only do we both have 5 tattoos, they're in the exact same positions. I have one on either arm, one on either leg, and then one on my back.
Yep.
Think about getting a face tattoo.
That makes sense.
I'm gonna be self-employed the rest of my life. I'm never gonna have a fucking job. I'm thinking about getting. But for real, I'm thinking about getting a sword like right behind my ear. There you go. You got a pizza tattoo, so samurai demon. With your mom would have been. No, she would have pissed. She would have been even more mad. She would have been like, "You're an idiot." One of my friends has a pizza slice dripping like a teardrop tattoo on his face. He's awesome. He's a wild guy. He's a barber. He's fucking great. But I was like, "Dude, why did you get a pizza slice tattooed to your fucking face?" And he goes, "Cause man, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles taught me one thing: gotta take life one slice at a time."
Oh Lord, I don't know.
Like
I was gonna say every time I get a pizza, I murder it.
He is such a good dude though. What is that?
When I was 18, I think. I just graduated high school. It's a quote from my favorite book, Into the Wild, which is my favorite book.
That's a good book.
That's the last thing he writes in his journal before he dies. Chris McCandless.
Jeremy, can you guess what my favorite book is?
I mean, it's probably a manga, right?
Nope. My favorite book, like a real book.
I can't guess. Artie Lang's autobiography.
Blood Meridian. Great book.
I don't know that one.
Cormac McCarthy, the guy who wrote No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
You've never read Blood? Never read about Blood? It's about a group of like cowboys who just scalp a bunch of Indians. There's obviously more to it, and it's got some themes to it. No. It's it's literally one of the best books. It's so good.
This is a Clementine.
Yeah.
Which is my ode to my favorite film of all time, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Nice.
Where's your other tattoo?
I can't show the one on my back right now. This one is. I don't know if you can see that.
A little bit.
Where on your back is your tattoo?
Upper back. This is ode to my favorite band, Bright Eyes.
Nice.
You're a Bright Eyes fan?
Yeah, we talked about this last time.
Oh yeah, that's right. I love Bright.
This is from their most recent album, their first album in 10 years, Down in the Weeds, and literally the release day, I went and got this. It also has a little bit of a Pisces meaning to it as well.
Hey,
And
Jeremy, we should do top 3, bottom 3 Connor Oberst projects because there's so many.
That'd be rough. That'd be a rough one for me. This one, oh Jesus, I can't bend my leg that way. Anyways, the one on my left ankle is a matching tattoo with my mom. And it's just the mother holding her son, but in like not like an actual caricature of a mother and son. It's like
You're gonna make me cry. That's beautiful.
On the back of the one on my back is just the masks of drama and comedy, like kind of like my film acting.
Nice.
Oh, love.
What is on your back, Ryan?
I have from one of my favorite bands that I grew up with, that I'm friends with them and everything. I've got 2 music tattoos actually, but the one on my back is from a band called Project 86 from Southern California, and
Hey,
there is their dragon emblem from their second album. It's a really cool circular dragon, and then I took lyrics from it that says "You hate us because we'll never go away." Just talking about standing up for yourself, and yeah,
I like it. I like that.
and then I've got
now if I were,
go ahead.
wait, no, you go ahead.
I've got one on my left leg that is from a band called Showbread, which I'm friends with as well. Been friends with for years. One of the original like post-hardcore bands that added synth to their music, made it really, really awesome. But random story. So I was friends with this band when I was in California for years. Moved to Missouri, and I am looking for a new job because I hated working for the government. And I used to be just randomly opening up about myself. I used to be a plumber's apprentice in California. So I was looking at some plumbers here. And the only reason I knew this place is because I was also on the side selling insurance. And so I went to this company, and the guy was like, you're a good salesman. Do you know anything about plumbing? I was like, I'm surprisingly, yeah, I used to be a plumber's apprentice. He goes, why don't you just, come hang out for like 4 or 5 hours? I might want to hire you to be our salesman. I was like, shoot, yeah. I mean, you're just going to scalp me for my talent. Why not? I went and hung out with this guy for literally like 5 hours. We went and bid on a couple jobs, did everything we could to get some people's business, and I genuinely helped him for free, just riding along, talked to some customers. And on the way home, he goes, so, I'm feeling good about this. Other than, working, what kind of person are you? I was like, well, I'm a big fan of music, really into it. And he goes, oh, yeah, my son's in a band. Turned out his son slept on my couch in California because he's the guitarist of Showbread, and I had no idea.
That's cool.
What a small world. I love that
From
story.
1,500 miles away.
And
I was like, I have your son's band tattooed on my left leg right now.
What an exchange.
What did he say?
He was like, no way. I was like, here. And I pulled it up. He's like, you actually do. That's amazing. Yeah. I said, your son slept on my couch in California. He goes, you know what? I've always been worried about him, but knowing that you're the type of person that he was sleeping with.
Good catch.
Staying the night with, and being hospitable for them. I'm more grateful that people like you open the doors, and it was a very sentimental moment, and I never worked for him.
I was gonna say, because then he goes, but I can't hire you.
Like, you have slept with my son. You have slept with my son, and we cannot hire you.
But honestly, that was I think they stayed at our house a couple times. One of the most wild nights I've ever seen. Like, the drummer went and literally picked up one of the other guitars. They had like 3 guitars. Picked up one of their pillows and bare ass farted like for 25 seconds in a row all over this guy's pillow. And I was like, dude, he's in the shower and he's about to get pink eye. And he's like, yeah.
Of course.
We had
like early, what is it? Late 90s, early 2000s?
It was 2004, yeah.
I have a drummer farting story. Local band here. The drummer, we were at a friend's house, and the drummer just pulls his pants down and proceeds, perfect pitch and everything, do Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes with farts. And then the guitar player was banging on the table. So and it was. Every time I see him, I'm like, Keith, you remember when you farted Seven Nation Army? And he's like, because he's got dreads, he's a hippie. He's like, oh yeah, bro, oh yeah, that was good times.
I don't know if I know Flip doesn't know. I don't know if Ryan knows or not. Yeah, I'm a drummer, for like so many years, and
yeah,
I just
Foo Fighters, Nirvana.
Yeah, well, I play guitar in Foo Fighters, but
what was that one side project you had, Probot?
Them Crooked Vultures?
No, Probot.
And them crooked vultures.
And them crooked vultures.
Yeah, he's been in everything.
And don't forget, I'm the drummer for Tenacious D as well. No, I was in a band in like high school and college, but I just recently, within the last couple months, started a new band out here in LA, which I never really intended to do. But the reason I bring it up is because based on what Ryan was just describing as his musical taste with those other bands that he knows, I think you might. I'm gonna send you some tracks after this, Ryan.
Please, yeah.
I'll send you some.
Yeah, send it to me too, dude.
I guess I'll send it to Flip.
I was in a band briefly. It was a death metal band, but
Nice.
His email, by the way, is artie.lang69@yahoo.com.
I can just send him over Facebook Messenger, I think.
You can change my name in our Facebook chat. So I can change you to Dave Grohl, and you can change me to Artie Lang.
I would love that. That's who we really are. Speaking of musical tattoos, I'm probably gonna. I just haven't decided what yet, but I'm probably gonna break down and get my spirit animal, Julian Baker tattoo very soon.
Nice.
I'm thinking about getting a horse the band tattoo. I love horse. You guys like Horse the Band?
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Sardis says, I used to hang with the Banditos, and his dog pissed on the couch. He opened a beer, poured it on the cushion, and flipped it over. Then he kicked his dog outside. He said, I need to get rid of the dog, but he's the best dog I ever had.
That's awesome. That's a crazy story, dude.
That's a crazy story. I appreciate the drop kicking of the dog.
John Belushi's brother ate at my uncle's restaurant.
James Belushi?
And he said he was a fucking dickhead. He was like, this dude was such a fucking
That's what I've
prick.
heard, yeah.
Yeah, he's living in John Belushi's shadow. Of course he's a dickhead.
It's a big
decades
shadow,
after his death still
living in. So much so
I've been told
I called him John Belushi's brother instead of his name, James Belushi.
I don't know his name, dude.
He's a famous actor.
That's what I'm saying. He's living in his brother's shadow so much that decades later you're like, yeah, whatever the fuck his name is. John Belushi's brother.
Yeah, we went to a concert one time. It was, I don't know if you guys like electronic music, but it was Skrillex on New Year's Eve. Like, shit. I know. Yeah, pretty funny. But like we
Skrillex in so long. Go ahead.
But well, this was like almost forever ago. But we go to the after party where it was him and Boys Noise doing their first set as Dog Blood ever. And I just worked my way in the back, and I was just standing like literally I could touch Skrillex. I was like right behind him. There's fucking Alvin Risk, and there's all these other DJs around me, and I'm sitting there with a vodka Red Bull. Like, this is awkward. I just hung out, just stood there. Nobody said shit. I wasn't supposed to be there. It was kind of cool.
That's a good story.
Skrillex was great. I saw him like 4 years in a row in New Year's.
I literally forgot all about Skrillex until you brought him up in this story.
Bang-a-ring! Bang-a-ring!
Wait, when you were showing us your tattoos and your Seven Samurai tattoo, did you see the video I posted? Very recently, it was my 7-year anniversary of moving out to Los Angeles.
Yeah, I hearted it.
Okay, good.
I think I commented.
I snuck in that Seven Samurai clip just for you.
Did you really just for me?
No.
I used PC.
But I thought of you. I thought of you when I was editing it.
You're like, yeah, Flip likes Asians. There's an Asian in this movie. I'm sure Flip's seen this movie.
I just tried to cram it with as much Seven references as possible.
I am gonna get a hand tattoo, probably a samurai mask, like a helmet, a little demonically, and then I'm either gonna get some finger tattoos, but it's this really cool style. I'll send it to you. It's gonna sound dumb, but when you look at it, it's gonna look cool.
Okay. So
I'm gonna
hand tattoo and face tattoo, both.
Yeah.
Bold.
The fuck, I'm not gonna be.
His face tattoo is just gonna say "Sorry, Mom."
I was actually thinking about getting my daughter's name in Arabic tattooed across my face.
That'd be good. I mean, if you're gonna get a face tattoo, that's at least very sentimental.
And if you look like Flip, yeah definitely get Arabic, please.
Dude, I don't know if you guys have seen me tanned. I look like.
There was such a long pause between, I don't know if you guys seen me, and tan. I was on the edge of my seat wondering what was. I don't know if you guys seen me.
I have perfect
What?
comedic timing that's not meant to be comedic. I just stop. My brain shuts down for like a half a second. I'm like, okay.
And somehow it makes it better, not on purpose.
I need to get a soundboard that has like the window shutting down sound, and every time you pause for a second, just play it.
Dude, I'm telling you,
perfect comedic.
It would be good to have a soundboard.
I'm telling you, since my heart thing, my brain has not been working. Like I've been like forgetting shit. Like I didn't know who Heath Ledger was.
Stroke and not a panic attack.
It could have. Maybe it was, dude.
Maybe it was
for
a
real.
Stroke.
I fucked up $100 order on Friday. It's supposed to be for Saturday, and I forgot that it was for Saturday, even though I wrote it on the thing that says for Saturday, and I made it. And then was like, message the people like, hey, you guys are an hour late. You picking up your food? And they were like, that's tomorrow. And I was like, fuck. So I gave my wife the pasta. We gave the pizza to the cops.
That's good. Even though your cousin has a fuck the 4-0 tattoo.
Fuck the 5-0, yeah. Dude, my cousin's so hilarious. He's more like Artie Lang. He has a coke problem, and he is a crazy motherfucker.
If your cousin looks and sounds anything like you and has a coke problem, then he might be Artie Lang.
He's skinnier than a rail, and he's much taller than me. But he's got a big old Italian nose, though. Like bigger than yours, actually, Jeremy.
I do have a big nose. A lot of people.
And whenever he got into coke, I was like, dude, your nose is a vacuum cleaner. You're gonna be broke. And he did.
That's how that works.
Yeah.
On that note, I gotta go. A, I gotta pee, and B, I'm starving. I obviously came straight into this after work and haven't had.
What are you gonna eat?
Huh?
What are you gonna eat?
You know, quite frankly, I didn't want to say this live because I've been.
You don't have to.
Well, I'm gonna answer Flip. I've been doing very well with my diet, so today I've been craving Taco Bell, so I'm gonna go get some Taco Bell.
Dude, what time is it here? I got you. What time is it? Taco Bell's still open. That's a great idea. And then I'll go to the gym.
Hey everybody, thanks for hanging out for the top 3, bottom 3
of eating a cheesy burrito.
You want me to FaceTime you on Facebook and be like, Jeremy, I'm eating a taco.
Yeah, please do. If I don't answer, it's because my mouth is full of cheesy beans.
What's your go-to at Taco Bell?
Hey everybody, we're leaving. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next Tuesday. Have a good week.